It's hard to win a championship in our sport. It's hard to put yourself in position to win a championship in our sport.
Everything you work for and everything that you do all season long, and it boils down into this Game 7 moment.
When you're put in these situations as a driver, as a race team, you're able to find another gear that you didn't know you had.
In the biggest moments, the most pressure, the most on the line, you can put it on the edge and you can hold it there as long as you need to. And you can get the job done.
The guys that can perform and the guys that are good in those situations are legends.
It is all on the line. Let's take a look at the starting grid brought to you by Ford. Up front, Denny Hamlin on his 38th birthday, looking for his first win of 2018 to keep a streak alive. Kyle Busch will start on the front row with him. The highest starting position of the championship for Martin Truex Jr. in row 2.
Back in row 3, Joey Logano and Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch 2019 unclear, could be his last start for Stewart-Haas Racing. Row 4, Eric Jones, Ryan Newman. We know Ryan Newman's making his last start for RCR. He'll be driving a Roush Fenway Ford next year.
Probably the overachiever of the year, Eric Almirola, will be starting in row 5. And then behind him, Kyle Larson, maybe the race favorite, back in row 6 with Kevin Harvick, the furthest back of the championship Ford.
Alex Bowman under the weather, was unsure if he would start this 88. He's gritted it out. He's going to give it a go. Justin Allgaier will be on standby. We'll see how he does throughout the day, if he can keep those fluids in, make it the entire distance. Back in row 9, Matt Kenseth making what could be his last start in the Cup Series next to Daniel Suarez, who also is unsure of his plans for 2019, Rick.
It is the last start for Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus together as a team. A.J. Allmendinger also making his final start. Jamie McMurray, unsure of what the 2019 plans, could be his final start as well.
Yeah, Darrell Wallace Jr. and Michael McDowell back in row 12. So much hope for the year of the 43. Had that great run back in Daytona, Rick, and just kind of not been as good as they wanted. Hopefully you end the year on a good note.
And that's the thing that everyone on this grid and on this racetrack are thinking about. They want to end this season on a high note. This 2018 season comes down to this race, this final 400 miles that are in front of them, and everyone wants to go away from this race with good momentum.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 drivers that without a doubt championship are on their mind, but so many stories up and down pit road, drivers, crew chiefs, crew members that are either moving on next year or maybe don't know what next year holds. You always want to end the year with the right foot forward.
Yeah, teams closing down. Obviously, the biggest one that we have talked about all season long, the 78 team, Furniture Row Racing. This is it for Barney Visser and that team. This will be their final race as a race team, and Martin Truex Jr. will try to give him his second championship. And if you're wondering where these cool shots are coming from, well, it's from Ford and the Camera Car Company Pursuit Systems. They have used the new 2019 Ford Edge ST to create a camera car. It actually films high-speed chase scenes and other really hard to capture action footage. So we've been lucky enough to have access to that Ford Edge and the Pursuit car. Great vantage point. Remember, they're traveling along right now at over 50 miles an hour around this track, and it looks almost, well, lethargic when they're going to be going nearly 200 miles an hour here in a very short amount of time. I want to take a close look at our championship 4. We'll start off with Kevin Harvick. Back in 2001, he was thrust into the Cup Series when Dale Earnhardt died. That was 17 years ago. Now, Kevin Harvick has become accustomed to must-win situations, but those must-win situations normally have Rodney Childers on the box where he's been able to get the win. But today, because Rodney Childers is suspended, Tony Gibson will be having to make the calls.
And Joey Logano, in my opinion, he's had the best playoffs of anybody in this championship 4. Matter of fact, I believe he feels the same way. So much so, he declared himself the favorite a few weeks ago. He said he's the guy that's going to win this championship. I also believe that Joey Logano, the big advantage he has today, that pit crew of his has been the best pit crew the last 5 or 6 weeks. That pit crew and his speed could win him a championship today.
Martin Truex Jr. has an incredible story. Back-to-back Xfinity Series champion in 04 and 05. Started his Cup career at DEI. Went on to MWR Racing. Part of the playoff scandal of 2013. Almost ended his career. Went to Furniture Row in 2014. 24th in points their first season. In the playoffs ever since. Last year's champion. Well, what can you say about Kyle Busch? Joined the Cup Series ranks as a 19-year-old. his talent never questioned, has turned into a polarizing figure in the NASCAR scene. The fans either love him or they hate him. But a turning point in his career in 2015, broke his leg at Daytona, rebounded with a new crew chief, Adam Stevens, had a son that year, also won his first championship that year. Rick, he has never missed the championship four since 2015, and self-admittedly, he said a second championship would help define his legacy. He has that chance today.
Most wins of the championship four at the Cup level, this highest level of NASCAR racing. All right, Steve, let's break down this race. What do they have to do?
Well, it is a challenging racetrack and a long race. It'll start in the day and end under the lights. A 1.5-mile oval, 267 laps, just over 400 miles. There'll still be stages, 80 laps for stage 1, 80 laps for stage 2, and that leaves 107 laps for that final stage. Fuel window, 62 to 64 laps. And Rick, it's all on the line. Very simple. 4 drivers for a championship. Which of these drivers get to the finish line first? That'll be the champion. We've seen every year it's taken a win. Will it take a win again this year?
And on Friday and Saturday, a story developed about pit stall selection. For more on that, let's go to Marty.
Yeah, Rick, Denny Hamlin won the pole on Friday, but his teammate Kyle Busch is running for a championship. And when you win the pole, you have the first selection of pit stalls. Well, Denny Hamlin and his team chose not to take stall number 1. They took stall number 4 and gave that selection to their teammate Kyle Busch, who qualified second. So he has the advantage of the number 1 pit stall, which can gain you time on pit road. I talked to Coach Joe Gibbs yesterday about that, and he said, listen, we met as a team. We made this decision as a team. I asked him, are you worried about the optics of this, and it might seem like team orders? He said, listen, the buck stops with me. If anyone's mad, they can come talk to me about it, but we know we want Denny Hamlin to win this race, but as a company, we need Kyle Busch to win this championship.
And unfortunate, not only have we had a parachuter get into the fence, but some oil has been put down on the track by the 95 car, so they are not only working on the 95, but they're also trying to make sure the oil or fluid that's been put down on the track is cleaned up before we see the green flag. Tease the fact that the 48 driven by Jimmie Johnson and crew chief by Chad Knaus, the entire time it's been a part of the Cup Series with Lowe's as the sponsor. This will be the final race for that pairing. Chad Knaus and Jimmie Johnson really have very few peers that have been able to do what they have done. 17 seasons together and 81 Cup Series wins, 16 consecutive winning seasons. Now that is on the line today. They still have not won in 2018, but 11 crown jewel wins, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, that's how people are measured. That's how you become a Hall of Famer, winning the biggest races and winning championships. That's what we're here about today. Well, how about this? This duo has won 7 championships together. I've been fortunate enough in my entire career, guys, to be a teammate to Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus. They set the bar not only for the entire sport, but without a doubt, sharing an office next to Chad Knaus made me a better crew chief. I'm not sure if we will ever see a pairing as dominant as these two.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to have the opportunity to work alongside these guys and learn what made them champions, how they had a culture that was all their own. So successful over the years, and here you see the team spending time together this morning to celebrate this last race together. Congratulations from Tony Stewart, a guy who knows all too well what these guys have been through over the years.
So much respect for what these guys have done, really the way they've done it. They've worked hard. Jimmie Johnson's been a clean race car driver. Just so much respect from the people that are in the garage now, but also people like Richard Petty. You hear him talk about Jimmie Johnson, how great of a driver he is, and they've left a mark that'll be hard to ever be matched again.
And remember, Chad Knaus, neither are leaving. They'll both be back in 2019. Chad Knaus is going to crew chief for William Byron, and Kevin Meendering will be the crew chief for Jimmie Johnson for 2019. Let's get a few more updates while they're cleaning the track and before the green flag flies. We start with Kelly.
Well, Rick, NASCAR truly is a team sport, and the pit crews play a pivotal role. For the 78 team, that group is led by veteran gasman Brian Deal, who will be making his final start of what's been a 12-year career. Now, crew chief Cole Pearn told me that this group has been stronger than ever throughout these playoffs. He said they've really come into their own, and he'll be counting on them to perform again today, Parker.
Kelly, for the 22 team of Joey Logano. It's consistency for this crew. They've all been together since he came to Team Penske. They've all, majority have been there in the last 2 Championship 4 appearances. And one I want to point out in particular, Ray Gallahan, as his team members call him Goose. This will be his final appearance there on pit road. He used to be the jackman, now he's the gasman. He's becoming a pit crew coach at Team Penske in the future, Dave.
Kyle Busch's front tire changer, Cam Waugh, was a fixture on pit road until he left in the middle of the 2016 season to return home. Family matters called, and he told me this morning he spent all of 2017 working in the oil fields of Colorado. Family matters resolved. He said, I didn't know at age 32 if I could come back or not, but he came back this year, tried out for the 18 team, made it, and now he has a chance at a championship. Marty?
Well, Dave, talk about pressure on this 4 team. Tony Gibson filling in for obviously Rodney Childers, who is suspended for 2 races, but focusing on the pit crew. Chris McMullen is here changing tires for the 4 team for the first time all season. He spent the entire year with Eric Almirola and his team. This is the 3rd different rear tire changer for the 4 team. Their original rear tire changer, Daniel Smith, is an absolute inspiration to this team. He was diagnosed with cancer back in August. He is undergoing chemo right now. In fact, he just finished his final chemo treatment on Friday, left the hospital yesterday, and Rick, he is here today. Talk about motivation for this 4 team. They have it in spades.
Yeah, pretty amazing. And obviously everyone thinking about that crew member for the 4 team, wanting to go out and do the very best that they can for him. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers today.
Yeah, let's take a look here with the Ally camera. Jimmy Johnson, see what he's going to be doing all day long. Jimmy John Cam, sorry. Kevin Harvick, one of our Championship 4. The Ford Performance camera of Eric Almirola. See what he's going to be doing all day long off the roof of his car.
Joey Logano, Coca-Cola cam right off the top. Martin Truex Jr., Bass Pro Cabela's camera, another roof cam. And Kyle Busch, he's going to have the Goodyear camera.
And not only will we riding along right at track level, but also high above. Our aerial coverage presented by Coca-Cola on this partly cloudy day in Homestead, Miami. As the cars now are 2x2 and the lights are off the pace car, that means that we're getting ready for the green flag.
So Rick, so much circumstance leads up to this. 35 races, a week of media, practice, qualifying. All you want to do is either get in your race car or climb on your pit box and get the race started. I know we half joked, right? A delay because of this, a delay because of oil. I don't like all of that. That just makes my nerves rise. These 4 drivers, I know they are ready to get to business.
Denny Hamlin, pole winner. Up front has chosen the outside line. And Kyle Busch will be on the inside line. 2x2, 39 cars strong. The pace car making its way off of the racetrack. Field now in the hands of Denny Hamlin. As they come up to the starts, it's the Ford EcoBoost 400. For a lot of this race, we are going to be talking about the lines around the track, the lines that these cars will take. We're seeing them down at the bottom of the racetrack now. As the race progresses, they will also move up to the wall, all the way around this track.
See the dust from the speedy drive that they put down for Regan Smith's car. Nothing to worry about. These guys got plenty of grip out there on this abrasive racetrack.
Martin Truex Jr. on the bottom. Bottom's normally really good on starts, but you saw Joey Logano get by. Now Kurt Busch driving by.
I think he's probably taking it a little easy right now. Not wanting to lose a lot of track position.
Heard him way out of the throttle right there. Got in the corner, couldn't stay on the bottom. Going to have a run from behind to the 20 car. Eric Jones going to put pressure on him into 1. Eric Jones to the top, all the way to the 3rd lane.
Now let's 31 car Newman underneath him, but Jones will probably take that spot back on the back straightaway with all that momentum from the high side. Jones has been fast all weekend in practice. Guy we think that if a playoff or non-championship contender can win today. We think Jones is the guy with one of those opportunities. Truex back to the inside of Kurt Busch. He moves away to stay away from that side draft. Kurt's going to let him have the position.
Championship 4 running 2nd, 4th, 5th, and Harvick back in 11th right now. Kyle Busch running 2nd behind Denny Hamlin. Now Keselowski and teammate Joey Logano side by side for position.
This reminds me a little bit of a heavyweight fight. Like we had practice yesterday, and they all ran pretty much the same speed, but no one knew who was going to have takeoff speed, who was going to have long run speed. They're kind of sorting out, figuring out where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are. Only lap 4. This race normally has a lot of green flag laps. People need to understand how they take off, but also how they are in the middle of the run and then at the end of the run.
A little bit sideways out of Brad Keselowski in the 2 car there, able to catch it.
Talked about, Dale, you just mentioned Erik Jones and non-playoff drivers and who would have a chance to win. Well, a lot of talk about that 20, a lot of talk about the 42 of Kyle Larson, and we know where he's going to run, and he's already there. You mentioned lines on the racetrack, Rick, from top to bottom. Well, Kyle Larson is 42. He loves the top. He loves the aggression of the top. Watch how high he enters the corner, runs right along the wall. A little bit middle of the track there, but already making passes moving through the field.
Here comes the 78, Martin Truex Jr. to the inside of Brad Keselowski. Trying to take that 4th spot away from Brad.
Look how low he entered into turn 3. Have to check up just a little bit for the center of the corner. He's not going to be able to make this position on Brad. Brad's going to find some speed on that high side. That high side's coming in quickly for these guys. We saw him in practice move up there around 8 or 10 laps in. Look at Brad entering high. He liked what he felt in 3 and 4. He's going to try down here 1 and 2.
Remember last year's race, Martin Truex Jr. won that race, but he never went to the top till the end when he really had to run to the top. Other than that, he kind of ran the middle of the racetrack or the bottom.
He's going to have to move up now as he sees he's losing time to the 2. Kurt Busch is on a run, trying to get by him.
He's got to be careful though. He's not in the same situation as these guys are around him. He has a championship to win today. He cannot go hit the wall early in this race and take away that opportunity, Marty.
And I would say this is a very good start for the 4 car of Kevin Harvick. They were not very good early in runs. They maybe had the best car at the end of runs yesterday in practice, and already he is +4 positions. Started 12th, running 8th right now for Kevin Harvick. You know, when you're running in the championship 4, you bring all the inspiration to the racetrack you can. And Kevin has talked so much about his wrestling days back in Bakersfield, California. His wrestling coach, Rick McKinney, is here today in the back of the pit box cheering Kevin on. And he's got the old school number 29 Kevin Harvick lanyard on, like he was racing for Richard Childress Racing back in the day. But Rick told me that's a good luck charm for him. Kevin has his good luck charm here, his old wrestling coach.
See Kevin Harvick running on the bottom, the 20 of Erik Jones on the top. Throughout the entire field, we got about half the field running low, half the field running high. With the cooler temperatures this weekend, the bottom group has been more competitive.
Really interesting conversation with Kevin this morning about his race car. He said, hey, look, if you look at lap times, we're okay. We're not great, but we're okay, but I don't like the way it feels. We're going to make some change to make it more comfortable so it drives better. Just give you a better feel. You see Kevin Harvick, he's committed to the bottom of the racetrack. See if he can stay there and how long he can stay there. That groove will probably be moved up as this run goes on.
Kelly, what's going on with Martin Truex Jr.?
Well, Rick, I can tell you that Martin has not yet said a word over the radio in these opening laps here today. It was 78 laps that he led in last year's race to go on and win the championship. When I talked to Cole Pearn about their car this year, he told me that he feels even better about the car they brought here today. He said, I think we're even more competitive than we were a year ago. And then he made an interesting point. He said he feels best about the balance of the car and how it will handle once that sun starts going down. He said he would be a little bit unsure in these opening stages in the heat of the day, but he feels confident about what they'll have as that sun goes away.
Yeah, Kelly, well, Denny Hamlin, he's thinking about Denny Hamlin right now in the 11 team. They have a 12-season win streak going. It's on the line today. He still has to get a win. He's running up front. NASCAR Drive is your live race day companion. You can watch throughout the broadcast and select alternate camera angles. Never miss a lap with NASCAR Drive. Visit NASCAR.com/drive. Only 3 drivers in the 70-year history of NASCAR have won on their birthday, and that is what Denny Hamlin needs to do today if he wants to continue his win streak as far as winning a race every season that he has been a part of Cup. Right now, he is trying to continue that. It's at 12 seasons, looking to make it 13. Jimmy Johnson, also the other driver that is winless this season with a streak on the line. He has 16 wins, or 16 seasons with wins, and looking for that 17th also. But very impressive. Denny Hamlin, after winning the pole, continued to run up front, has a 2.7 second lead right now over Kyle Busch.
Denny's got a great track record at this racetrack, but what's impressive to me is that he's doing this against the 4 championship contenders who you would think would be the most aggressive with their race cars. So Denny's out there driving a great race. Only thing for this, for me, is how will he be later in the race? We're going into nighttime. This track's going to change a lot.
Well, speaking of one of your championship 4 contenders, here's Martin Truex making a move on Keselowski. He's not done though. He's got the top of the racetrack, taking that spot back. And I think that's an advantage. You just talked about Denny Hamlin and how aggressive, the championship 4 are with their race cars, but I don't think they can be as aggressive in driving at this point in the race.
Contact made. The Keselowski in the 2 slides up the racetrack and hits Kyle Weatherman in the 99.
Wow, it costs the 2 car a lot of momentum. Don't know about the damage on the right side of that car if it's hurt the aerodynamics on the 2.
Martin Truex Jr. trying to make the pass. Brad Keselowski staying in the gas up against the wall. Look at what happened.
Yeah, Brad just kind of got in there a little bit too hot. Really ran up in the side of the 99 car. You see right here, Brad's going to the bottom, and he didn't get there, and then gets up the racetrack. Just missed the bottom of the racetrack. Got him up the racetrack. Marty.
Well, he thought Kyle Weatherman was going to go a little bit higher. He said, what the heck was that? After it happened, he said, I definitely brushed him. I don't think I got it too bad. Definitely checked the right side. That was Brad Keselowski to his crew.
This is something that's going to be a problem all day long for these guys, is lap traffic. The lap traffic really doesn't have a place to go to get out of the way, because we run all over this racetrack from the apron all the way to the fence.
And Kyle, Weatherman held his line. He didn't do anything wrong in that situation. I just think that just misjudged it a little bit, the closing rate. Yeah. Brad just misjudged it.
How do these drivers race against the championship 4? Are there nerves with these drivers trying to make sure they don't affect the championship 4?
It's awful not being one of the championship 4, and it's worse having to race them, because you want to win this race. You're here for you and your team, but you don't want to be a story. You don't want to be a guy that takes out Kevin Harvick on a good run early in the race. You don't want to be the guy that stops that, but at the same time, the racetrack belongs to everybody. You have a right to go try to win this race.
Kevin Harvick in the 4, before we left Phoenix, I thought he was going to be one of the favorites. I just expected him to walk out of Phoenix with his shoulders back, a ton of confidence, but he hasn't seemed himself all weekend to me. He's been a little quiet in the media sessions. They came off the truck not very good. I talked to Tony Gibson. He said they just went the wrong direction. They missed it qualifying. Flat and plain and simple. Too tight with the front tires. That's unlike the 4. I talked to Rodney Childers a little bit by text over the course of the weekend. He said, we're making big corrections this morning, Marty. Felt like him and Tony Gibson, Kevin Harvick met over the course of the weekend, and they would have a better direction. And so far, +7 positions up into the top 5. I like what I'm seeing out of the 4 car.
I think those morning changes worked out pretty well for Tony Gibson on the left side of your screen with Kevin Harvick this weekend. And Kevin kind of described the car as driving funny this weekend. They said they had a very similar feel at Chicago back in July. This left side tire, the same tire they had at Chicago. So they made changes that they did in Chicago this morning here in Miami. Kevin has an interesting theory, Jeff. He likes to run the bottom of this racetrack. They practice the bottom of this racetrack the entire weekend. He said, I won't go to the wall until it gets dark. A very solid theory that Kevin Harvick abides by. It's working for him so far from 12th and about to get 4th.
Well, he does that a lot. Kevin Harvick is a race manager. He's a very smart race car driver, and he doesn't want to be up by that wall anyway right now. He does this at Darlington, a racetrack where everybody runs right against the wall. Kevin Harvick gives himself a car width from the wall. He doesn't want to make a mistake and have damage. That's Kevin Harvick's strategy. It's worked well for him. He'll stick to that today.
Well, he told Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty on the pre-race show his approach. None of these cars are going to drive good around this racetrack. You have to adapt. That's what Kevin Harvick's doing.
You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series Racing, Ford EcoBoost 400 from Homestead Miami Speedway. Well, today's Grand Marshal, this championship race, Josh Dallas, is a member of TV's #1 new show, Manifest. Tomorrow, you got to see what happens with the mystery of Flight 828 Manifest. That's tomorrow on NBC. Denny Hamlin still out front, has a 3-second lead over Kyle Busch. Let's get an update on that team, and we go to Parker.
And Rick, it's been an emotional weekend for Denny Hamlin. If you think back to when he won the pole on Friday, you saw the tears in his eyes knowing that this was probably his last race with Mike Wheeler. And I spoke to his crew chief, Mike Wheeler, this morning and asked him about that. And he said, you know, right when we started at this team, we were both similar aged. We got along. We were friends. I've been part of Denny's my entire Cup career. I've been a part of FedEx my entire Cup career. He goes, you know, I've built this team to be better 5 years from now, not right now. So it's been bittersweet to be ending on this note, Dave.
Parker, right now, Kyle Busch is in championship winning position, even though it's only lap 30. Remember, he only has to be ahead of the other championship contenders. Right now, about 1.5 seconds ahead of Logano, even though he's 3 seconds behind the leader, Denny Hamlin. He's about a little bit loose now, right now as well, Parker.
And Dave, for Joey Logano, he told me going into this race, he expected the bottom to be dominant early on. He said because he'd noticed something over the weekend. The rubber wasn't laying down on the racetrack. It wasn't making it greasy. He felt like the bottom was going to be the place to be, and he's been there most of this run. He's tried running a little higher, but he's been struggling with that car being very tight. He's gone up on the track bar. He's dialed the brake bias back. He has not been able to make that 22 turn, maybe abusing that right front a little too much right now, Marty.
Kevin Harvick has been rolling through the field, Parker, from 12th to 4th for Harvick, and he's been top 5 in lap times pretty much this entire run. You know, Rodney Childers suspended his main crew chief for these final 2 races, so Tony Gibson stepped in, and Rodney Childers was in a war room at Stewart-Haas Racing headquarters last week. They had all the communication set up so he could talk to the team. That communication went down right at the green flag. So Tony Gibson had to make all those calls on his own last week. Rodney Childers on site this week, Kelly.
Well, with it being the last race for Furniture Row Racing, some employees who don't normally travel to the races are on site, including a shop engineer by the name of Matt Faulkner. The last 4 races that he has been to, including Homestead a year ago, this team has won, so they wanted to make sure he was here as somewhat a good luck charm. Well, a lot of employees looking for new work. Matt Faulkner and 11 other employees are going to stay on to work for Barney Visser's machine shop, Visser Precision, and even though they know nothing of the industry, he considers them championship personalities. He's willing to train them in a new career field.
You see Kevin Harvick working the bottom of the racetrack, just past Joey Logano for 3rd place. Kevin Harvick, he and Kyle Larson, 2 fastest cars on the racetrack. Look at Kevin Harvick, painting the white line, left side tires right on it.
We saw this last night in the Xfinity race with Hemrick. Daniel Hemrick ran the bottom in the first stage and was the fastest car. As the race went on, though, that bottom went away for a lot of guys. Be interested to see if that happens for Harvick.
So let's look at a different way of doing it. Here's Kevin Harvick on the bottom of the racetrack. The next fastest car is Kyle Larson. They've been swapping speeds back and forth. One of them's the fastest one lap, one's faster than the other. Kyle Larson, completely different idea, working on traffic right now, but watch him when he gets clean air. Watch what he does. He's going to get the right side tires right against that wall, run all the way around the corner. Both are the fastest cars on the racetrack. Now he goes to the bottom because we're talking about it. But both are the fastest on the racetrack. One run at the top, run one at the bottom. Dave.
And Jeff, when I talked to his crew chief, Chad Johnson, this morning, he's going to hit pit road. That's why he came down here. So Larson onto pit road, had to get to that low line and keep it there. So now the driver, expected to be one of the race-winning contenders here today, makes the first move to pit road. Remember, we saw yesterday how valuable fresh tires are. And so Kyle's going to jump right here, try to get an advantage over the others who are going to pit after him. It was much better on the laps that he was running there. Feels like it gives up at the top groove, though, a little bit. And that's when they started talking about coming to pit road. 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for Larson.
Well, now the pressure of the race within the race. For Kyle Larson, pitting early, getting these new tires, it's a big advantage. He's here to win the race. For the Championship 4, they really have to call the race against one another. Remember, Rick, they don't need to win the race. The highest finisher will be the champion, but I would expect Kyle Larson's aggression will drag everyone to pit road for brand new tires with 44 laps to go in this stage. It's done just that. Cars are coming down pit road fast and furious. None of our Championship 4 have hit pit road yet.
Kyle Busch is coming this time. I think he just went to the bottom of the racetrack. Yep, Kyle's coming. I think Harvick's coming. They're all coming.
78.
He is not.
He's going to stay on the track.
And this makes sense for these Championship 4 and all these leaders to come. Kevin Harvick coming to pit road because they have 11 sets of tires to play with, 10 sitting here in the pit. So in essence, you can run 27 laps per set. And with tires being so valuable here at Miami, you want all the fresh Goodyear rubber you can get on. Kevin Harvick, very small air pressure adjustments. The car was just a little bit too free, Parker.
And Marty, the 22 team reacting to their Championship 4 competitors here. A little too tight in that 22 car. Still at the end of this run, going to do 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel and air pressure adjustment, Dave.
Entering the corners, Kyle Busch's car is a little bit loose, so a wrench was in the left rear window to make an adjustment on the chassis for fresh tires and fuel.
So strategy came into play last night for the championship. We're seeing now the 78 stays out another lap. Is this a mistake?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a mistake this early in the race. I mean, there's still 229 laps to go.
He's waving. He's going to come this time.
Yeah, I think that it's just a congestion. I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's being cautious. The last 2 times through this end of the racetrack, they were 2 and 3 wide. Daniel Suarez missed pit road, about spun out. The 78, I think, is looking for just a little bit cleaner racetrack to come to pit road by himself. Give up a little time. It's still early. Let's not damage the race car. You just already see a little conservative strategy by Cole Pearn and Martin Truex Jr. They understand. It wasn't until the last 10 laps of last year, Kelly, before they really got aggressive with their pit calls.
And when that 42 of Kyle Larson was on pit road, Martin had asked what his last lap time was like, and at that time he was fastest on track. Martin saying that the 78 car is not terrible, but he's lacking a little bit of grip. You see the wrench go in. They're going to make a chassis adjustment. That's because Martin has said that he's a little bit too loose in and tight across the center. In the 78 car, it's also going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires and the Sunoco fuel going in now.
Now, there will be a penalty to this conservative strategy. I like the call, guys, right? As drivers, you like coming to pit road with a little less congestion, have a little bit better idea. You're not going to hit anybody, but you're definitely going to lose time to those guys with new tires.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you who I think the winner was on that pit stop, round of pit stops, the 4-car Kevin Harvick. I think it's fair to say that we've been very critical of the pit crew on the 4-car. That's our biggest concern, is their lack of speed on pit road. Kevin Harvick, that pit stop came in, beat Kyle Busch off pit road. He entered pit road. He was 3.5 seconds behind Denny Hamlin. Look how he's closed the gap to Denny Hamlin. So advantage to the 4-car team, stepping up, first pit stop of the day.
Yeah, the last 2 laps, he's been faster than Denny Hamlin. So is Kyle Busch. And so these guys are closing that gap. And once Michael McDowell pits, Hamlin will be the leader if Harvick hasn't caught him by then and taken the lead.
He's a second behind. That pit stop sequence cut 2 seconds out of the advantage that Denny Hamlin had.
Harvick is closing fast. There you see Hamlin right at the bottom of the screen. This is the pass for the lead right here with Denny Hamlin.
Michael McDowell had not come to pit road yet, so now Denny Hamlin back out front. But the championship 4 all have come to pit road. Advantage goes to Kevin Harvick as they all are working hard, sawing on the wheel. 267 laps of racing from Miami. Championship 4 and where they run. Kevin Harvick up front. Kyle Busch has 3rd. Logano 4th. And Martin Truex Jr. is 9th right now. And here is how Kevin Harvick got the lead. He stole it away from Denny Hamlin with this move.
I just didn't see the 4-car being this good today. He's not had the speed in practice on Friday. Really didn't have that great of a practice on Saturday. Those guys went to work last night. I'm telling you, I am impressed with what they've been able to do, the changes they made to this car. He is by far the fastest of the 4, obviously with the lead, driving away, like much faster than these guys. It ain't even close.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me about it is, you know, they made those changes not based on how fast the car was, but on Kevin Harvick's feel. You know, I just need to feel something different. I need a better feeling car. You know, we talk about it a lot, Steve. Like, what matters is speed. Like, sometimes the driver's got to just deal with it, but Kevin Harvick's saying, hey, I need something different, and making those changes based on his feel. Marty.
And Jeff, good point. Rodney Schilder's texting me this morning saying he felt very confident about the changes. You also brought up a great point about the pit crew. That's Chris McMullen, the new rear tire changer. This 4 team has been maligned for much of the year about their performance on pit road. Well, they would have loved to have made changes during the playoffs, but they had all 4 Stewart-Haas teams in the playoffs. So they couldn't take one player from another team and move him over to Kevin Harvick's team. They couldn't do that until this week. So Chris McMullen, who had been working with Eric Almirola and the 10 team all year long, his first day, the first day with the 4 team is championship day. Imagine that pressure, guys.
Yeah, that's stepping up big time in a big-time match right here, a championship on the line. But, you know, we talked about Kevin Harvick's feel and what he knows that he needs. He leads all drivers here in top 10s. I mean, he has the feel. He understands what he needs here. Rodney is smart enough to know, hey, we got to give it to him. We're going to make some changes because our driver wants to feel something different.
Well, Jeff, on the opposite side, the 78 Martin Truex Jr., we saw them stay out 2 extra laps before they pit, being a little conservative, Rick, just making sure they're not going to have an issue. And all week we've talked, the best championship 4 statistically ever. Well, I think that's what we're starting to see. The 78 Martin Truex Jr., because he stayed out, he lost 4 positions and about 5 seconds on the racetrack. Now he's back in 8th. Guys, I just don't know if you're going to be able to just hang out for a couple hundred laps and think you're going to get it done in the closing laps. The field is too strong, Kelly. I think you're going to have to attack from the start of the race.
Right now, Martin Truex Jr. has been running some of the fastest laps on track. They have not won yet in the playoffs. 4 regular season wins, but yet to win in the 9 races we've had in this playoff system. When I talked to the team, they felt like they should have won at least 3 of those, but maybe as many as 5, but it has been just that. It has been mistakes and penalties on pit road. It has been on-track incidences that have kept them from getting to victory lane. So they haven't won in quite some time, and they know they're going to have to put together the complete package here today to get that back-to-back championship.
And so many people have pointed the finger at the fact that this team is closing down. Maybe the team loses their focus because they're worried about where they're going to go, where their next opportunity for employment is going to be. And from the entire time that announcement came out, they have said, we are not losing our focus. We are focused on winning a championship, defending our title for Barney Visser. We want to let him go out on top.
One of the guys I got my eye on right now, one of the non-championship contenders, Kyle Larson. We talked about this being a track that he likes. He's up to 5th place right now, running the fence where he loves to run. Well, he's going to go to the bottom here because he's got the 15 car he's trying to go by. The lap car there didn't want to get hung up in that dirty air above on the top groove. But he's been running that wall where he wants to run, slowly working his way into this battle. He told us when he gets toward the front, he's not going to race these championship guys like he did last year. He's not going to take it easy on them, move over. He's going to try to win this race. It'll be interesting to see if he's put in that position, if he backs that up.
Yeah, see that driver in front of him, that orange and white car, the 19 of Daniel Suarez, having a bad day so far, back in 25th, a lap down, and we don't know what he's doing next year. He's a former Xfinity champion, won the championship right here a few years ago, and has no idea what he's doing next year. So certainly not the last race he wanted, being a lap down, but be interesting to see what Daniel Suarez comes out and tells us in a few weeks what his future is. Dave.
So drivers, Kyle Larson was told a couple of laps ago as his team watches the stopwatch that he was getting his rhythm back. The times were looking good. So I'll ask you, Dale Jr., you know, this high line, I think you got to work your way into it. Did you feel that way? Because you loved running up there, but it'd take you a couple laps after a pit stop to get back up there?
Every time you go up there, you get better and better with each lap. You know where to push it. He's going to try to dive under this 19th. Maybe even do a slide job. Yep, it's going up to the top. He had to get around that 19. That 19 was hurting him aerodynamically to be able to run that high side. You have to make those kind of moves, and he does it. But yeah, once you move to the top, it doesn't happen right away. You got to work your way up to it, really push the car without actually getting into the fence.
Well, the right away is the weakness to the 42. Last year, they were just not good enough on new tires. When I talked to Kyle Larson, he was self-admittedly saying, we waited until practice got underway, then we went out there and really ran hard on new tires to make sure we were better. They think they've made gains. Still not quite as good as others, but better than they were last year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if they're good enough at the front end of a run. Obviously, he has the late run speed, but to be able to beat Harvick today, Harvick has that front end speed.
Yeah, but that sun's still up. This race gets won when the sun goes down.
You're right.
Well, listen, something that's impressive too about Larson. Remember, he pitted 2 laps before everybody else, so he has 2 laps older tires and still running lap times that are as fast as anybody. Most laps, many laps, as fast as, you know, first fastest, second fastest. So a little bit older tire and still able to do that. Very impressive.
Still about an hour and a half away from sunset. It's being told it's 5:30 here in the Homestead area as the 11 is going to go by the 18 of Kyle Busch. Now Denny Hamlin has taken second away from Kyle Busch. Kevin Harvick still out with a 2.9 second lead.
Kyle Busch has actually kind of been running him down slowly, real slowly. As Denny's starting to catch this traffic, it's giving Kyle Busch an opportunity to get even closer. He was almost by him right there. He's got to work on it. You see, he didn't make that pass. Look how much room there is between them now. He has to work to get back to him. Look at him dive down here. He's going to try to get down on the bottom, make that pass. Then he's going to have the momentum, though, on corner exit. What are these lap cars going to do? Who's it going to upset? Denny might be able to let this 18 have it. Oh, he's going to race him down this back straightaway. Pretty interesting. Teammates working together there, or maybe not working together.
Yeah, it looks like they're not working together as Denny Hamlin still looking for that win this season.
The lap traffic here. It's going to be big all. It's going to be big all night. Lap traffic is going to play a role. You see Denny Hamlin won the top of the racetrack. These cars in front of him, that hurt him aerodynamically. The 18 went to the bottom. He kind of got blocked in. Right now, this is an advantage for sure for Kyle Busch. He'll be able to turn left and get by these guys.
Harvick, Kyle Busch, 1 and 2. 4 seconds separate the top two in the championship 4 battle. It's Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Homestead Miami Speedway. And fans, don't miss your last chance to win a custom truck built by NASCAR fans. Enter for your chance to win, and today only use promo code FINISHLINE to unlock 10 bonus entries. So don't wait. Go to NASCAR.com/playoffs promo now to enter and use promo code FINISHLINE.
See that 42, man? He's on a mission. Went right down into turn 1 and committed to that slide job to the fence. He did get by the 11, lost the position to the 22. Let's see what he does right up here. I think he's going to rip that top.
Oh, you know he's going to rip the top. That's what he does. Joey Logano ran higher that lap than he's been running. He's been running the very bottom trying to get by these guys. Finally got by the 11, 40, because the 42 helped him. Now the 42 is going to be on the top. It'll be hard to believe that Kyle Larson won't get a huge run on the exit right here. Here he comes. There it is. Now Logano's got to be listening to his spotter. Spotter's got to be telling him if he's clear or not. Coming on the outside. Doesn't try to take that. Parker.
And Jeff, TJ Major's been talking to him through this entire battle about where the 42 is, where the 11 is. He told me before the race, that's one thing great about Joey Logano, is he can tell him where those other drivers are running in the middle of the corners it's happening, and Joey can adjust his line. But one other thing I want to add is don't sleep on this 22 car right now. They've started to get a little faster at the end of this run, and they told me, the daytime is not really the right time for them. They have set this car up and aimed and know the feel they want for the nighttime. So as nighttime falls, I expect that 22 car to get a lot stronger,
That's
Dave.
a great thing that Parker said about how this track changes from the day to night. Who's fast now, they might not have that handle late when the sun goes down and this thing cools off.
With this racetrack being multiple groove, we saw Kyle Larson jump to the bottom of the racetrack. You call it a slide job. Quite simply, he overdrives the corner, carries way too much speed in, clears the 22, clears the 11. Now he's up the racetrack. Now he's going to get slow. If not, he's going to hit the wall. That's why Joey Logano is able to get by the 42. The 11 of Hamlin cutting some slack. Well, I'm going to tell you, Junior, this is the way I feel about it. If I'm driving the 11 and 42 does that to me, I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna knock him out of the way because that's nothing more than blocking. I'm not gonna put up with it all night long.
The track is so slick, though. I don't think Denny could have done it. I think that the dirty air actually held Denny back, stopped Denny's car in its tracks. Denny would have hit the fence if he'd have tried to get up there and gas it and hit that 42.
Man, we have hit a sore spot for Jeff Burton.
Yes, we have.
He is not like the new wave of racing, Dave.
Oh man, sorry, Burton. So for the 42 crew chief, Chad Johnston, I talked to him this morning about that high line, and I said, so when do you plan to have him migrate up there? He said, migrate? He said, we're going to live on the high line. So, fellas, I got some South Florida real estate for you up high. Problem is, it's only a car width wide.
And Larson right now running in the 3rd spot. He's 5.3 seconds behind Harvick, who is being chased by the 18 of Kyle Busch. But right now, Kyle Busch is going to fall back to 3rd as Larson has made the pass and moves in front of the 18.
He is a half a second faster than the leader, than Kevin Harvick out front.
We see this. This is what Kyle Larson does at Homestead. It's what he does.
But Jeff, he's led the most laps, but he's yet to win the race. How can you be this fast and not win the race?
Front end speed, early run speed.
You got to be better at the front.
And
you everybody be better on new tires.
Everyone keeps talking about nighttime. Make sure that you're ready for nighttime and the change the track is going to make.
Well, the other issue that's hurt the 42, and I think he's gained respect because of it, is because he didn't want to get in the middle of the championship battle. He's been vocal this year that said, you know what, this year I'm going to get into it. I've heard enough. I was nice last year, and this is what it looked like last year. winning stages. This was the dominant car. Just like today, he was right up against the wall. Won stage 1, won stage 2, but then here at the end, look, he hasn't run on the 18. He doesn't pull out a line. He gives him a shot in the bumper. He lets the 18 and the 78, the two in front of him, race for the championship. I think he second-guessed it, guys, because you see him congratulate him. He was very vocal, guys, that this year he wasn't going to happen. Rutledge this year, he said he's going to race for a win.
Well, that's for sure, Stephen. At Media Day for the champions on Thursday, one of the media members asked these guys, do you think to win the championship, you're going to be the race winner? And they all looked at each other and laughed and said, well, that depends if Kyle Larson hasn't wrecked out from riding the wall in the last stage. So these guys know the biggest threat is someone like Kyle Larson who lives and is so comfortable just right up there on the high side the whole time.
Kyle Larson just going by the one of Jamie McMurray, who is down at the bottom of the racetrack. And again, mentioned during the starting grid that Jamie McMurray has been very mum about his plans in 2019. It was announced at Chip Ganassi Racing he would not be coming back full-time in 2019. And Jamie McMurray responded with, I didn't want any awkward goodbyes. I haven't said what's going to happen in 2019. I didn't want people doing special plans at the racetracks we went to if they thought I was retiring, so I have not said anything. I still have a possibility of running the Daytona 500 for Chip Ganassi Racing next year and potentially working for Chip Ganassi Racing. It just won't be in the driver role.
As we mentioned, the 78 was the last car to pit road. With the advantage, he does have a couple lap pressure tires. He gave up a lot of time, slowly inching back on the positions he lost. You see he's working on the 11 at Denny Hamlin for the 5th position.
Working that bottom, staying committed to the bottom. His lap times on this run, since he's came to pit road and got those tires, has been great. Even though he's 4th in line of the Championship 4, he's still got great speed on the racetrack. Once we get to the end of this stage and things cycle through, he's going to have to work on that track position. Sitting in 6th place right now. Even if you got that speed, that's too far back. You cannot win this race from 6th on his final few restarts.
He pitted from 5th. So he pitted from 5th place. Now it's taken this entire time to be racing Hamlin to get back to that same position because he pitted a little bit later. I think they're going to have to rethink that strategy moving forward, Steve.
Well, one thing, all year long, we'd be talking about 6 more laps, points awarded. Not today. These Championship 4, no such thing as points. They just have to outrun each other. And that's really how they're racing it. You see in the top left, the 4's leading. With the 78 passing 11, all 4 of the Championship 4 running inside the top 5.
Final 5 laps of stage 1 for these drivers and crews, maybe to catch a little break, a breath. 192 laps still to go in the race, but again, broken down into stages. 80 laps for stage 1, 80 laps for stage 2.
The drivers might be able to catch a breath, but those crews, we talked about it at the Open. The pressure is just not on Martin Truex Jr. The pit crews, they train all year long. And think about this, they've already done 1 stop. They might have somewhere 6, 7, 8 more stops over the rest of the day. That's around 2 minutes worth of work, Rick. 2 minutes worth of work. Will you make a mistake, or will you be flawless and give your driver a chance to win a championship?
I know Kyle Larson is running 35 teens on the top here. Fastest car on the racetrack, our leader at a 35.50. Martin Truex Jr. the lap before ran a 35.30 on the bottom, still committed to the bottom of the racetrack. That tells me there's a little more speed in that car than he's showing.
The other thing that's extremely important right now, Steve, is that communication. The driver has got to be talking to his crew chief right now, giving him information so he has time to think. He and the engineers can get together and talk about the changes they want to make. This track is going to continue to change. They're going to have to change their setups. The crew chiefs don't know if the drivers don't tell them.
Hey, Jeff, don't put me on the spot. Don't give me that information. And perhaps for Tony Gibson in the 4 car, he wants that information a little bit earlier, because I'm guessing Rodney Childers somewhere listening to the 4 car radio, probably doing a little communication with Tony Gibson over direct message or email. So if anyone has to have the information early, it's this 4 car. When you start crew chiefing by committee, you need a little bit more time, Rick.
We expected this, but once again, the Championship 4 are all within the top 5. It's Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson kind of throwing a wrench into the Championship 4's plans, but Harvick is out front by 2 seconds over Larson. Then it's Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and Martin Truex Jr.
What did Joey Logano say? The big 3 and me. Well, now it's the Championship 4 and Larson. We have 5 competitors here that I think really anyone in the top 5 has good enough cars with the right adjustment to win this race.
And you can't count out Denny Hamlin right now running in 6th. He has been strong as well, Marty.
Good point about the information flow from Steve. So what they have been doing, Tony Gibson's been asking Kevin Harvick about every 15 laps as we come to 1 to go in this stage. What's the chassis feeling like right now? So every 15 laps, he's getting that update, Steve. Good catch.
That's what you have to do. Jeff mentioned it. It's the final lap right here, Rick, but we talk about new tires, old tires. Drivers, they're focused. If you ask Kevin Harvick how it drove on the first lap of this run, he doesn't remember. He knows how it drives now. It's your responsibility as a crew chief to get that information.
And the championship 4 continuing to compete against each other. And as Kevin Harvick works his way out of turn number 4, he is going to be the first to claim a victory. He will win stage 1. And that sets the tone for the remainder of the race. Kevin Harvick, stage 1 winner. Larson, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., all top 5. And now, as Steve mentioned, the crews go to work. Pit stops coming up. Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Miami. The Ford EcoBoost 400 stage 1 is complete. And let's take a look at the stage results presented by Coca-Cola. As we mentioned, the championship 4 points don't matter, but everyone else, they do, because they are still fighting for positions in the top 10 and the top 15 as far as the season ending points. And so Kyle Larson gaining points there with that second place finish in stage 1. Now the crews, Steve, as you mentioned, up on the wall getting ready, and it all comes down to 13 perfect seconds. The driver has to be perfect getting on pit road, has to perfectly park in the stall. Then the crew has to do their jobs perfectly, and then they have to get back off pit road without speeding.
Well, and I'm giving my crew a pep talk right now. I don't need perfect. Just solid. Just solid. We're not trying to hit home runs here. Just base hits. Don't take us out. The drivers have done a great job, Marty. They're all to the front. Just keep them there.
And Kevin Harvick's crew delivered on that first stop. That was under green flag conditions. Here's the second stop of the day. His one question, how do we compare to the other 3 in the championship? Tony Gibson said, really good. He said he's losing rear grip the more he goes. They're going to put a piece of tape on the front grille there. They do that right there. And an air pressure adjustment in both rear tires, Kelly.
Well, for Martin Truex Jr. in that 78 team, he said he's not that bad, but he's lacking some side bite. He said he was a little bit loose getting in, so he's got to be kind of careful getting into those corners. Chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel, Parker.
Kelly, for Joey Logano, every time he gets to the turn the center of the track bar up, he loses grip on exits and air pressure adjustment in 4 tires, Dave.
Kyle Busch lost a little bit of time on pit road the first time, had a little trouble again this time. He's going to lose spots instead of being able to take advantage of that first pit stall.
We look at the race off pit road brought to you by Coca-Cola, and a lot of positions lost by Kyle Busch. 6 spots on pit road. Now, as we head to break, let's check out our final edition of Coca-Cola Race Day Fuel with Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez. NASCAR fans, celebrate championship weekend with all your favorite drivers' gear. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/shop. If you're a Kyle Busch fan, M&M's gear is there, and if you're a Kyle Busch fan, you're probably a little disappointed in what just took place on pit road.
In third, out ninth, 6 spots lost. Rick, we talked about it. We didn't need perfect. We needed solid. This is anything but. Looks so good so far, but when the right front goes on, knocks the lug nut off, has to reach up, correct the lug nut, comes over to the left front, and then makes the mistake of trying to make up the time. Trouble with the tire coming off. The next tire goes on. Didn't have the gun switched, knocked the lug nut off. We're just going to apparently let that one go, unless he got it started. Cam Waugh, you see, listen. Hey, the good news, if there's any good news, 182 to go. Knock the nerves off. We talked about the stage. It's the biggest pit stops they'll do. Get that one behind you.
And there's more pit stops to come, so they will be able to redeem themselves, or at least try to redeem themselves. The 11 of Denny Hamlin also had a problem on pit road. He missed his stall, had to back up to get back into his stall. So a little bit of problem there for Denny Hamlin. And after running up in the top 10 this entire race. Denny Hamlin drops back down to 17th. The field approaches the Geico restart zone. Harvick and Larson making up row 1.
Harvick picked the top, I think, because he wants Larson on the bottom. We know Larson likes the top of the racetrack. Let's see how that works out. We're going to find out if Larson has takeoff speed.
Well, the 4-car loses the front just a little bit right there.
Look at the 41 of Kurt Busch moving up through the middle, as is the 22 of Logano. Here comes Logano trying to take second away from Harvick.
Yeah, that turn 1 and 2 from Harvick wasn't very good. Allowed Logano to get on the inside. Still, the 4-car struggling here in the middle of the racetrack. 41 car gets a run on Kurt Busch, his teammate.
He'll drive back to the bottom now. Tried the middle of the racetrack, not working. 4-car, Kevin Harvick, he'll drive it right to the white line. If he had that restart to do over again, he would do something different. He learned something. I imagine most of the field was paying attention, but
Still losing,
yeah.
They still lose a little bit of time. Not looking good these first couple of corners.
Marty mentioned an air pressure adjustment on the rear tires of the 4, and is that a situation where it's got to come in now that you've got a different air pressure back there?
Well, possibly. And cars usually drive very differently from a green flag pit stop versus a yellow, just because of the pace lapses. We see the 22 of Joey Logano inching in on that 42, Jeff. Even with clean air, Kyle Larson not able to drive away on new tires. Parker Klineman told us not to sleep on that 22. He was right.
Look at that speed.
He's making a run, but he got that dirty air right there. Lost the bottom, but this track got that variable banking, so when you lose the bottom, you can kind of commit and stay to the throttle, and you see he doesn't lose that much time down the back straightaway.
What he's doing right now, he's trying to guess what Larson's going to do. Everybody in the field knows at some point Larson's going to the top. Joe Logano's trying to guess that. He doesn't want to be right behind. He wants some clean air, Parker.
Exactly, Jeff, and he's really struggling in dirty air. He mentioned a lot in that first run there, just struggling getting especially tight in dirty air. So you see him really working that wheel behind the 42s and eventually have to find some cleaner on the nose at 22.
Yeah, so watch what the 22 does. Watch as he drives into turn 3 down the back straightaway now. He's going to turn a little before the 42. Gains on the 42, 42 to the top. That's what Logano wanted. Logano wanted to see him to the top. Now he's got clean air on the bottom.
He just hopes that 42 doesn't start sailing off, running down them straightaways and driving away from him. He'll have a few laps to see if that works.
It's early to go to the top, though. I think that might be the only hope. See, look, see right there, Larson back to the bottom, but not all the way on the bottom, still giving Logano some clean air.
Yeah, and he lost the bottom just a little bit. Logano's closing in on him.
Here comes Logano trying to go for the race lead.
Little side draft. He's trying to get to that quarter panel. Can't quite get there. Dives down into third, turn 3 here.
And right now he's got to rely on the spotter. Kevin Harvick coming in to play. He wants some of this action. Right now the spotter's got to be telling him he's clear, clear. Joe Logano to the lead.
We talked about it, the early run speed of that 42. If he's going to win this race tonight, they're going to have to fix that. They're going to have to get this car where it runs a little better for him for these first 10 or 15 laps.
And how about Harvick in the middle of the racetrack, not on the bottom. Now he leaves on the bottom, going to try to get next door, right door to door with Larson.
Those two fighting for second. Joey Logano, the only one of the championship 4 that has never won here at Miami, as Harvick now closing the gap between himself and the 22.
And Logano knows that Harvick's a bottom feeder. He knows that Harvick's going to be on that bottom. So where's Logano going to go? He's going to go to the bottom, take there away. Larson getting by Harvick.
Larson back by for second. And Larson right up against the wall again.
Lap 7, Rick. It's taken about 7 laps for the top for the 42 to try to come in. That last set of corners, it looked like he started on offense again. Once again, he's going to drive off the front of the 4. He might not be better than the 4, but I don't think he's losing time to him anymore.
And Junior, that's so frustrating for Harvick because he thought he had him cleared. He thought the fight was over, like I'm behind. Larson made it work on the outside, took that spot back.
Steve, are we going to see a similar pit strategy in this stage where around 25 to 30 laps, you'll see guys maybe 35 laps come to pit road?
Yeah, probably around 35. I mean, you had a few pace laps or caution laps, so you don't have full 80 under green. Probably about 30, 35 laps in that first set of tires and come to pit road. Marty?
Hey, Steve, we wondered if that air pressure adjustment, both rear tires, dropping the air for Kevin Harvick and his team would change the handling. He said, really plowing now. Remember, he said he was losing too much rear grip late in runs, but how can a small air pressure adjustment like that, Steve, change the handling that much?
And when Marty says small, quarters and half a pound. We're not talking a full pound of air, a half a pound. But you have to remember, these cars are so engineered. We talk about aerodynamics, horsepower, suspension, all of those things, that basically the tire is a huge part of the suspension. Remember, it's the only thing that really touches the ground. Air pressure can be a huge adjustment.
Let's take a look at some laps from above, brought to you by Coca-Cola. The different lines that these drivers are taking around this track.
Yeah, the 42 is committed to the top. He's trying to get his car to come in. Right now, the 22 of Logano is still faster by about a 1/10 and a half that last time by. He's not committed to the fence yet, and he's one of those championship 4 that may not run or want to take that risk and run right on the wall. You see he drives to the bottom of the racetrack. That time by, Logano and Larson just about even on lap time. Harvick a little bit slower. Truex coming into the picture here in 4th place.
And right behind him, Eric Almirola in the 10.
You see it, Logano running just a little lower, sort of straddling that seam.
Risk versus reward, though, Junior. That 42 car has nothing to lose. If he gets in the wall and damages his car, you know what? It's the end of the year. But these guys, everybody else is racing for championship. I just don't think that Joey Logano can afford to go there right now.
Logano out front, leading the championship 4 in Miami. Joey Logano has the lead. It's a 4/10 of a second lead over Kyle Larson, but Larson continues to be the one on the move as he runs right up against the wall.
And you see they're in lap traffic, starting to catch the back end of the field. This is going to play into someone's strengths, whoever can get through this lap traffic the best. Right now it's costing Joey Logano. Larson closing that gap quickly down the front straightaway. Weatherman's going to hold up Larson here in the high groove, going to slow him down just a little bit. And you see the 4-car close in.
4-car moved up the racetrack. He's 3/4 of the way up the racetrack. That found him some speed. Actually, he was a little bit faster than Larson the last 3 or 4 laps. But once he got to Larson
is running right on that wall. The 22 you see is straddling that seam still. And Larson wants him to stay there. Here he comes. He's got a great run. He does not want that 22 to get up in front of him, take that, make the dirty air, hit the nose of that 42 and take that advantage away. If I'm Logano, though, I'm going to where the 42 is. I know you guys don't want him to get up against the wall. He's scared he's going to hit the wall.
He's not racing the 42, though.
He doesn't, yeah. But if he lets that 42 go by, he's then second. He's behind him in dirty air, and then the 4 is going to be the guy that gets through his bumper.
Yeah. That's what you see out the windshield. On top of the pit box, I'm saying you are not racing the 42. We saw this in yesterday's race. Do not let him pull you into a mistake with 164 to go. Parker.
Steve, that's a great point. Whoa, as Kyle Larson goes to the inside of Logano, that's exactly what he said. He felt like the top wasn't worth it till 20 laps to go. Lead change.
Come on.
Kyle Larson out in front. Joey Logano running second. But again, Logano in front of his other 3 competitors that is fighting for the championship. Kyle Larson, all 4 of the championship competitors thought that it was going to be Larson they would have to fight if they wanted to win this race.
See, that's my fear, that he loses the lead, gets in the dirty air because he's running the high side behind the 42. He's just straddling that seam. He's going to lose the position to the 4.
Listen, I hear you. I'm wanting him to go too, but Larson's faster. Larson's just plain and simple faster than Joey Logano. They all know that right now. Why fight that guy? And look how many laps are left to go, man. It's a long way to go. Joey Logano has to race this as a 267-lap race. Harvick is faster. Larson's faster. He's got to understand that and race accordingly, make changes to his car, continue to make it better. Marty.
I was going to say, is this a good time to remind you guys there's 162 laps to go as Kevin Harvick shoots to second here on the low line around Joey Logano. And it's funny how quickly the handling of a race car changes. He said it was plowing at the start of this run. Then he said 10 laps later, starting to come around. And then 5 laps ago said sliding the tires on entry and snapping loose off. And this is the second place car, Steve. That's why you crew chiefs make all the big money. Kevin Harvick moving up to second.
It's all about adjustments. This track is going to continue to change.
Want to get a few updates on the non-championship 4 competitors. We'll start with Kelly.
Yeah, just a couple spots behind that battle. You see there the 10 of Eric Almirola. In his first year with Stewart-Haas Racing, he made it all the way to the championship. 8 was just eliminated from the playoffs last week, and crew chief Johnny Kosmeyer told me they continue to exceed their own expectations. They had to constantly adjust their goals throughout the season, and he said the best part is their performance picked up as they reached the playoffs. So even in those high-pressure situations, they seem to do even better. Still plenty of them to fight for. They came into this race just 4 points out of 5th place, or as Johnny put it, best of the rest. They've got their eyes on 5th place in this championship.
Kelly, if there's one driver who looked like he might be in this championship Ford last week at Phoenix, it was Kurt Busch. He had an outstanding car and looked like he might put himself in Miami with a chance to win the title. The big question mark, where's he going in 2019? I talked to him right before the race, and he told me, I don't think our deal is going to be done in the next few weeks, but I hope to have some news at least by December 1st as to where we'll race next year. The checkered flag, the season will end with a checkered flag today, but NASCAR silly season still going strong. Parker?
And Marty, we know where Clint Bowyer's going. He's going forward. He's up 18 positions since the start of this race, up to 8th place. You know, he mentioned about this whole year how proud he has been of Stewart-Haas and this race team. He broke a 190 race winless streak here at the end at Martinsville earlier this year, and it has been a climb from there, being a part of the playoffs and winning also at Michigan. We'll be back after this.
Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Homestead Miami Speedway. From Illumination, the creators of Despicable Me and The Secret Life of Pets, comes a unique reimagining of the beloved tale Dr. Seuss's The Grinch, now playing in a theater near you. Kyle Larson has the lead, 1.8 seconds now he has put between himself and Kevin Harvick, who is running second. Martin Truex Jr. has now moved up to third. Joey Logano is fourth. Almirola has moved into the top 5, and Kyle Busch now running in 6th.
We keep talking about running up against the wall. A few laps ago, William Byron trying it up right against the wall. You see, got loose, a little bit of contact. It's not easy. Kyle Larson makes it look easy, but it's anything but. It's a special skill and art. You were good at it. You were really good at running to the top. How do you do it?
Well, you got to commit early. You got to commit to running high into the corner. Like watch Larson, he's going to go into the corner on the fence. He doesn't drive in to the corner on entry and drive up to the wall in the middle of the corner. He's on the fence when he enters the corner. That's the trick. That's how you do it.
Just about an hour ago, Kyle Busch was on the pre-race show, and this is what he had to say about running up against the wall.
Everybody's kind of looking about, okay, you know, the top's going to be the place to be. That's where you're going to win the race. Well, you got to have a special circumstance to be able to run up there like that and set your car up to be able to run up there like that. And so I don't think any of the Championship 4 guys did that. You know, I feel like there's only one guy in the field that focused on that, and that's the 42. So the opportunity that presents itself right now is for us to just go battle it out and race and race hard and race all over this Homestead Miami Speedway, top, bottom, wherever. You got to figure it out, and wherever is going to work best for you and your car in that situation, and make the most of that chance.
Well, Kyle mentions different setups. It does take a different setup to run against the wall, but it also takes a driver that's willing to go run there in practice. Dale, that's something you would always be willing to do. You would go run long enough on tires that you could run against the fence. And I think it's not just a setup, but it's a confidence. You specifically knew what that car needed to feel like to be able to run there all day long. Well, when you go into the corner on the high side, these cars sit in yaw. They sideways through the corner. There's a couple of degrees of yaw. And as you get up toward the fence, well, we got a leader on pit road here, Kyle Larson. The pit road, Dave.
First again, guys, here comes Kyle, and the driver said it's fine. It's taking about 20 laps till it, yep, you see that damage right there, just a couple of ticks on the wall. About twice he's been into the wall so far this afternoon. So again, taking 20 laps to get going, but boy, oh boy, once he goes, he goes. So no real adjustments on the race car right now. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Once again, first to pit road, Kyle Larson.
And just under 14 seconds, but what that does is it brings the field to pit road. He started it, and everyone else is following. And a close call for the 14 of Clint Bowyer.
Yeah, Clint Bowyer was carrying a lot of speed on the pit road. The 21, Menard almost got into him. Look at this. Clint Bowyer had his hands full to keep him wrecking right there.
Now Logano on pit road. Parker.
Right, and he's the first of the Championship 4 contenders to be down pit road. He's been complaining about getting that car to turn through the center of the track bar, but then it gets too loose on exit. He hasn't been able to find the right combination inside that race car. They're going to do 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel and an air pressure adjustment, Dave.
18 said he was slowing down when it built tighter, and then he realized that he needed to work on a little bit. No rear grip on entry was his biggest problem. 4 tires and fuel.
Kevin Harvick's pit crew has been flawless today. Let's see if they can deliver once again under a green flag condition. Harvick saying the car just too snappy loose at the end of the run. Air pressure adjustment, another good stop. Clean one for the 4 bunch, Kelly.
So the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. will follow suit. Martin says that he's been firing off a little tight, and the team feels like he's losing most of his time in turn 3. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for the 78.
Well, you notice this time, Rick, the 78 of Martin Truex Jr., he chased those championship 4 down pit road, waited a couple laps. The first time, I think they saw how much time they lost. Cole Pearn, being a little more aggressive here in stage 2, joined his other championship 4 on pit road.
Cycling through the green flag pit stops, and Denny Hamlin is staying out. He has not been to pit road under this most recent cycle of pit stops, so he is showing as the race leader.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, remember he had that bad pit stop. He pitted, it came out, he pitted, it came out all the way 17th after that pit stop. He had driven up to 10th before all this sequence happened, so Denny Hamlin has a fast race car.
Hamlin out front, Larson running in second, then championship 4, Harvick, Truex Jr. and Logano. Today's aerial coverage presented by Coca-Cola. Denny Hamlin came to pit road under break, and Kyle Larson back out front. Everyone has cycled through their green flag pit stops. Here's where the championship 4 are running. Second for Kevin Harvick, third for Martin Truex Jr., fourth Joey Logano, and Kyle Busch back in 7th. But a lot better pit stop that time, Steve, as Kyle Busch was able to maybe rebound or rectify what they had done the first time. It's time now for today's Subway Fresh Take, and let's focus in on this most recent pit stop.
Yeah, Cam Waugh, the gentleman in the green and yellow fire suit front tire changer, had a little trouble stop 1. We talked about how many stops he was going to have today. Well, look at this. Smooth on the right front, bounces right back, smooth off on the left front, great exchange. 5 lug nuts, stand up. That's the way you bounce back right there. Kind of get that bad one behind you. 140 laps to go. Going to have a lot of pit stops. Your driver's back in 7th. But we know there's only 33 laps to go in this stage. He still has a chance. He can get his driver track position.
Bouncing around a rough racetrack, as you see the head bouncing around of Kyle Busch, especially when you run up against the wall down the backstretch. Mentioned Kyle Larson out in front in that 42, and the story of Jimmie Johnson in the 48, currently running in the 12th position, Dave.
And it is that this is the final day of crew chiefing jobs for Chad Knaus with the 7-time champion. The championships that they won together. Chad will have a new driver next year, William Byron. Of course, Jimmie Johnson will get Kevin Mendering from the Xfinity Series. But 602 starts they've had together. And I asked Chad about it this morning. If you've been thinking about it at all, he said, well, not really. And part of the reason is because even though there's a celebration and what we've done together this year hasn't been much of a celebration. They haven't had the speed they've wanted, but Chad and Jimmie describe it as more of a brotherhood than a working relationship. They are friends. Yeah, they get a little testy with each other every once in a while, but they get through it and they move on. And oh, by the way, did I mention 7 championships, including 5 in a row? It's been quite the team.
They're the model. They're the model in the garage area. That's what every other organization is looking to do, is try to find that pairing. And we have some of those pairings today. I mean, you look at Adam Stevens and Kyle Busch's numbers. Cole Pearn, Martin Truex Jr., Todd Gordon, Joey Logano. You know, these pairings that we have racing for a championship today could be the makings of a Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus.
When I sat down with Jimmie a little earlier this year, he said, you know, one of my faults, and he can't have too many of them, but one of his faults is loyalty. And he said that could be one of my weaknesses, is I might have been a little bit too loyal throughout my career. Maybe this change should have come a little sooner. But right now, it looks pretty good as far as 7 championships and 81 wins together for Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus.
42 car having a little trouble right here with a 34. Trying to put a lap. Look at this. Middle of 3 and 4. 34 slides up in front of him. Man, he had to check up. Amazing he didn't get in the fence, but wait. Larson's going to come around, cross over, drive right across his nose. So close. And that's just frustration from Larson saying, hey, man, no, you see me running the high side, get your spotter to tell you I'm coming. Been running here for 150 laps. Dave.
Hey, remember last week at Phoenix, this car and driver finished third on the day, and talking to crew chief Chad Johnson beforehand, he said, you've been mentioned a lot as a possible winner here at Phoenix. That was that day, and he said, well, that's flattering, but, you know, Kevin Harvick is in a class of one at that racetrack. Here, they have been the classes that we already talked about early this week. The Championship 4 knew they'd have to contend with this guy for the checkered flag, Kelly.
Well, Dave, a couple laps after his last pit stop, Martin Truex Jr. came over to the radio to say that he had a little vibration. The pit crew immediately sprung into action, although things have since settled down here at the 78 pit box. They've gone back and been reviewing their last pit stop. And Steve, Martin's been quiet on the radio since, so I assume it went away. Can you explain why you might have a vibration to start out, but it kind of rectifies itself on track?
Not sure if it goes away, but I would take silence as it's not getting any worse. That would really be the question. Martin Truex Jr. would let you know if it's a vibration that continues to get worse. You would expect it to be a loose wheel. But these drivers understand some sets vibrate, just like your tires on your car. These tires get balanced. But at 160, 70, 80 miles an hour, just a quarter ounce or a half ounce out of balance will make a set of tires shake. If it doesn't get any worse, you assume all the wheels are tight.
And right now, Martin Truex Jr. chasing after Kevin Harvick. Behind Truex Jr., Logano, and then Almirola in the 5th position.
Yeah, you mentioned Almirola. You have to go back and think about last week. Sitting there on the front row late in the race, needing to win that race to be able to move here with a chance to win the championship. Couldn't find a way to make it happen. But Aric Almirola and his team bouncing back, doing a really good job running 5th right now. You know, this team, if you give them a shot late in the race, watch out, because Eric's hungry. And he is excited about this team. He's so excited about next year. He feels like they're only going to get better.
What if they go out here and beat all Championship 4? We're always going to wonder, what if? What if? Man, we could have gotten all the way to this race to race for the championship.
If they could have been in the Championship 4, but it would have taken a win at Phoenix, he wasn't able to do it as we go NASCAR nonstop.
Oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps.
Hold on. What are you boys up to?
Nothing.
Outdoor memories start with great gifts from Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's 5-day sale. With huge savings like savings of $20 each on this kid's Mega Wagon and RC truck. This Deer Path 8-piece bed set for under $50. And save $100 on this Woodstock Gourmet Kitchen Cutlery set. Open Thanksgiving Day.
The quarter-pound double-stack cheeseburger from Sonic with 2 layers of melty cheese right in the middle. You know what they say, it's what's on the inside that counts. Get a $2.99 double-stack cheeseburger plus tots before they're gone. This is how you Sonic.
For decades, banks have been getting away with it. Charging you excess fees, making you wait in line, keeping billions of dollars of your interest. They've been treating you like you're lucky to have them. That's not right. Show them who's the boss of your money. You. Better is out there. Ally. Do it right.
Toyota, let's go places.
You don't need to be a weather expert to see the storm brewing in the NFC North. And on Sunday night, don't expect a friendly forecast. Wow! All eyes on Vikings-Bears on Sunday Night Football.
First caution of the weekend for something other than a stage ending And it's for debris on the racetrack. There's a piece of metal, looks like a crush panel, maybe came off of the 20. Look at the damage to the right side.
He has definitely found the wall. See right there, a little contact with it.
Don't want to cut a tire down. Timmy Hill hit it in the 66.
Well, with 21 laps to go in the stage, 21 laps on their tires, there's no doubt in my mind everyone on the lead lap will be coming to pit road. You know, we talk about green flag pit stops and the opportunity of these pit crew guys trying to help the driver out. This is kind of a misconception. A slow stop under green, while you think it would cost you more because everyone's out there running 180 miles an hour, it might cost you more time, but it's usually less positions because the field is strung out. Well, now under yellow, guys, you have that same miscue, and if that stop is a second or second and a half slow, it is going to cost you a bunch of spots. That's what happened to Kyle Busch at the end of stage 1, a little miscue with 6 spots on pit road. Which one of these championship 4 teams will be flawless?
I think right now the guy that's glad to see this caution come out is Joe Logano, because they were losing a little bit of pace in the car. You saw how fast he was on the front end of this run on the first few laps. He was able to drive up there and take the lead. And so he's glad with only 20 laps to go in this stage, it's a great opportunity for him to try to cycle his way back toward the front.
NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Progressive. Stay on track with great rates at progressive.com. KFC's new 10-piece chicken feast. And by Ford, going further so you can. Pit stops coming up. Again, Kyle Larson, race leader, but now the field all bunched up, and that means a very hectic pit road.
And guys, if I had an idea, if I was the crew chief for Kyle Larson and had an idea of something I wanted to try for the short run, this would be my experiment. There's only 20 laps to go. Even if you're wrong, it's not going to hurt, but you have to get this car to fire off a little better.
Well, look at that gap between the 4 car and the 78. It'll be hard to beat those guys off pit road with that kind of gap. Marty.
Kevin Harvick comes to pit road. Junior, he said good changes on that last stop. It's still a little bit too free on exit. Also, the temps are a little bit over. They're not worried about that. They're also going to make no changes to the chassis or air pressure here, Kelly.
Martin Truex Jr. said he's firing off a little bit tight and he could use a little more side bite going into the corners, but overall not too bad. I expect no changes here on the 78, just 4 tires and fuel, Parker.
It's the same for the 22, just air pressure all the way around. They're gonna put a little tape on the grill as the temperatures fall here as the nighttime comes, and that's what the 22 is waiting on, the nighttime, Dave.
Kyle Busch wants it to stay freed up in the middle, but it's so sensitive on the entry. There's a race off pit road, Rick.
Yeah, race off pit road brought to you by Kroger Click List. And look at the positions 1 through 4 all holding space. You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series Racing, the Ford EcoBoost 400 from Homestead Miami Speedway. And there are some great places around this racetrack to watch racing. And Rudd, I think you found one.
I sure did, Rick. These pit road cabanas are amazing, especially if you find Joey Logano and his family and friends. It's been such a huge week. His sister Danielle is here. She's getting ready to go on a big ice skating trip. His friend Gavin Grubb is here all the way from Arkansas. There's Danielle, our favorite ice skater around. But guys, what a huge weekend. This week, the Joey Logano Foundation won that Comcast Community Service Award, which was a huge thing, all about giving back and second chances. You can see there on the stage, but also they had a huge fundraiser last night. They've raised over $170,000 this week for charity. His parents are here. Obviously, family is in from all over the country. They are on pins and needles down here, guys. If you want to talk about a high-tension place to watch, this is it.
Well, you mentioned second chances, Rudd, and that's what Joey Logano's foundation is all about, giving kids and young adults a second chance. And that's really, if you look at Joey Logano's career right now, it's another second chance. Last year, he was one of the, you would consider him favorites during the season. You would think that he was going to be a favorite for the championship. Didn't even make it to the championship 4. This year, he has rebounded. He has come on, probably the most improved, if you could call it, from a year ago to this year, and now almost a second chance for Joey Logano to run for that championship.
You know, Rick, in every pit stop sequence, there's always a winner, there's always a loser. Sometimes it's not because he came out with the lead. In this case, Kyle Busch. They had a bad pit stop before. He was kind of languishing back there, really couldn't go anywhere. Came down pit road, got him all bunched up. His pit crew picked him up a spot. Now he's restarting on the bottom of the racetrack in 5th spot. A good caution for him and a good pit stop. This could be big for this team. Track position matters. We've seen it. they could have just picked up some right there.
And once again, it's Harvick and Larson. Larson has chosen that inside line for the restart. He is the control car. He won the race off of pit road, and the field approaching once again the Geico restart zone. Larson, Harvick 1 and 2, Truex Jr., Logano, and Kyle Busch all top 5.
Weird restart. Everybody checking each other up. Look at what it calls in the back. 4 wide into 1.
And Clint Boyer in the 14 slid up the racetrack. He lost a lot of positions there as they go through 1 and 2. And you see the 18 of Kyle Busch diving to the outside, trying to get by that 78.
All 4 of our championship contenders all together right now.
Kyle Busch with a big run on the top here around the 78 car. Truex takes over 4th.
Steve, you said it. Right now, we know these guys have set these cars up with air pressure for a 15-lap run. Let's see who has takeoff speed. Right now, Kyle Busch looks to be the guy.
And you see the lights have come on, and that was when Kevin Harvick talked about that is the track changing, and that's going to be the most important time for this race. With just 122 laps to go in the race, 15 to go in the stage, things are getting very heated for these drivers.
Well, it's 122 laps to go in the season. 13,000 miles these guys have raced to get here with a chance to win the championship. They have 15 laps to go before they know they get another yellow to work on their cars. Then they'll be in the final stage of the final race to win a championship.
And Steve, how about that 4 car? On this time, he took off fast. Looks like he made their car better on a short run.
I agree. This restart's been much better for him. He struggled the first 3 laps of the first restart of the stage 2, but looks like he's got his car handling much better on this restart here on this set of tires. Coming up on Larson, he's actually closing the gap on Larson. Larson's still running the bottom. A good run by the 4 car off the top.
For the lead, here comes Harvick to the bottom of the racetrack. Now Larson dives down about 2 lanes up. Side by side, Harvick trying to take the top spot away from Larson.
Larson's going to battle back on the outside, though. Little side draft on the quarter panel on the 4 car. Down here, Harvick's going to charge into turn 3. Clear him. I think he's going to have this position coming off of turn 4.
Now Larson right up against that familiar spot for him, the wall. But now he's behind the 4 of Harvick.
Look at Harvick's eyes. Look at his eyes. Checking out Larson. Seeing where he's going to go. Do I need to block him? Do I not need to block him? Right now, his spotter's talking to him. He's just looking at his line. As he leaves the corner, watch his eyes. Now he's going to move up to the wall. Immediately, boom, to the mirror. Looking for Larson, understanding if he has to block him or not.
This has been the issue for Larson. No, not the same speed as the 4 car on sticker tires. This is only a few laps into this run with 12 laps to go. It's fired off a little bit better, but now still needing to work on those first 5 or so laps to be able to hold off this 4 car after restarts.
But look at the gap the 4 car has put to Logano. Steven said it several times. That's who you got to beat. You got to beat Logano. You got to beat Busch. You got to beat Truex. He is driven away from these guys on this restart.
Kevin Harvick. You know, Steve, you mentioned earlier, you thought it was a little bit different of an aura about him, or maybe just the way he looked. To me, it was more of a business-like attitude for this championship. Almost Tom Brady. Like, I've been there before. I've done that. I don't need to do any trash talking this year. I'm going to go out there and show them I'm the champion by what I do on the track.
Well, he doesn't have his head coach. Rodney Childers is suspended. Doesn't have his head coach for the last race at Phoenix or this race at Miami. So you have to ask yourself, you know, is that what we're seeing out of Kevin Harvick? Is he taking a bigger leadership role within the team, trying to keep the team focused by keeping himself focused, not changing the subject, not really even saying much, Marty? Every question, it seemed like the responses were shorter and shorter.
Steve, there's a battle, Rick.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we go to Marty, let's take a look at what's happening here. The 18 of Kyle Busch looks like he's going to lose a spot to the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. A little bit loose on the bottom of the racetrack, but Jr. takes the spot, but what a run Kyle Busch has. He gets to the back bumper, but that's as far as he'll go. Martin Truex Jr. now up to 4th.
Yeah, I think Kyle Busch is going to want his crew to improve the handling of his car. Definitely can't be happy with the way things going right now. This is a snapshot of what we could see at the end of the race, guys. A short 20, 30 lap run to the finish on tires. This is what we've got for us headed to the end of this race. And these guys, you can see who needs to work on their car a little bit to get that early run speed.
Larson and Almirola have been 2 cars that have been mixed in with this championship 4. as far as competing for a race win. Larson still running up in second, and Almirola running sixth.
Well, Martin Truex Jr., we just seen him get by the 18 of Kyle Busch. Remember, he's the defending champ. He won this race a year ago, and he mentioned where he wanted to position himself after the second stage.
You know, last year we were running second, and we were in position to try something different. And that was really the game changer for us. You know, we didn't have the best car, but we played a different strategy to try to flip the track position, and we were able to do it. And, you know, once we were able to get the lead, we were able to hold on. So you got to be close. You know, when that last final third stage starts, you got to be close to the front, and you got to be in the mix.
Well, I like what Martin's thinking there, and all four are close. Kevin Harvick has the best car. That's what everybody wants. But what Kevin Harvick has to be careful of is Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Busch are all in the top 5. So just like Martin said last year, they tried something different. 7 laps to go. Stage 2 will be in the books, Rick. When we get to that final stage, I expect the 78 or the 18 or even the 22 to gamble, Jeff. They're just not going to follow in line and not put up a fight for this championship.
Steve, remember earlier this year, Cole, the crew chief of the 78, and Martin Truex Jr. at Sonoma, they tricked Rodney Childers and those guys. They got on pit road before them. Got in their head, got in front of them. That was the difference. That's what made a difference in that race. That's the opening these teams are looking for in this race as well.
Marty.
Hey, Rick, we've talked a lot about the approach for the 4-team and Kevin Harvick this weekend. I would describe it as experience and perspective on things, if you will. And a good example of that is this morning. You know, if you're a championship 4 driver, you could have spent the morning buried with your head in notes or watching film. This is what Kevin Harvick did this morning. There's a lake in the infield here at Homestead Miami Speedway. He grabbed a cup of coffee and went fishing with his son Keelan. That's what they did. The 6-year-old caught 9 fish, and that perspective, and Jeff, I think you would agree, has really changed Kevin Harvick as a race car driver. It's not all about the race car, but once he gets inside the car, it's all business.
Hey, that's what Kevin Harvick is, and really that's what race car drivers have to do. You really need a split personality. You can be a good guy, nice guy on the street on a Tuesday, but on a Sunday, man, you got to be ugly and nasty and selfish. That's how you're going to win these races. So we've seen Kyle Larson running right against the wall. Well, that short run speed isn't cutting it. So Kyle Larson changed his line, and 3 and 4 still up on the top, right on the wall, but in 1 and 2, he's lowered his line. Running the middle of the track, see right there, that's just where he is. He's starting to make ground. Been the fastest car the last 2 or 3 laps. Been making ground on Harvick, but a little different approach. Turn 1.
Rick said the lights are on, starting to cool this track down just a little bit.
See what he's doing?
Change lines, definitely.
Driving in low, then letting the car wash way up the racetrack. I've never seen that done before here by yourself. I've seen people try to pass like that. He's using it to make lap time.
That's why everybody loves racing at this racetrack, because you can move around. You can run all over it. It is not a one-groove track.
And Jeff, Kyle Larson ran the fastest lap that last time around, and so maybe a unique line is going to get him back up front and in contention to win this race again.
He's willing to try it. I think it's fair to say of all the drivers on this racetrack, this guy right here, he'll go places other people aren't, trying to find speed.
Well, of the top 5 cars, he has the least to lose. The other 4 are trying to win a championship. Kyle Larson's trying to win a race.
Yeah, but Steve, tell me, man, when you got a driver that'll move around like that, doesn't that make you feel good as a crew chief? Because you know with the car, if it's not working on the bottom, you know it's just a matter of time for your guys going to go looking.
Yeah, I mean, help me out, right? As we see Kevin Harvick get caught in lap traffic on the bottom, if Kyle Larson can get around the top here clean, he's going to have a heck of a run down the front stretch, Rick.
And could be battling for maybe the win in stage 2. Harvick to the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Larson on the high side. Again,
Huge
Larson
run.
still fighting for points. Larson wants to end up top 5 in the point standings. And now he's going to battle. How hard will Kevin Harvick fight him for this? Harvick to the bottom of the racetrack again. Larson with the momentum. Here he comes on the high side. Kyle Larson slingshots out of turn 4, and Larson is going to win stage 2. Larson, Harvick, Logano, Truex Jr., Almirola, Kyle Busch. Those are the top 6 in stage 2. Kevin Harvick, stage 1 winner, and now Kyle Larson wins stage 2. Is that high line coming in? Well, Kyle Larson definitely wants it to, because that's where he's been the most comfortable, and that's where he was able to make up the ground and win stage 2. One final stage to go in the championship, and it's coming up. It's down to one stage remaining. We'll take a look at the stage results presented by Coca-Cola. Larson getting the win in stage 2, and Harvick once again outdueling the other contenders for the championship 4. Let's listen into the 18 radio.
I mean, I feel like every time I'm going in the corner, I'm going in easy, like light, I'm getting rubbed over, and I am chasing it. Like, I am not even steering it to the left. It's just right rear, out, up, light, nothing there.
Great feedback by Kyle Busch saying, listen, I need more security in the back. I need to be able to tug on the wheel to the left. 105 laps to go. These adjustments are going to be important, Marty.
For Kevin Harvick and his team, the concern right now, the temperature in the car. He's plus 15 on the temps. Tony Gibson said that should be okay, but Harvick said, I'm going to have a tough time managing that under green. They're going to pull a little piece of tape off right here. 4 tires for Kevin Harvick. No changes to the chassis, Kelly.
Well, Martin Truex Jr. in that 78 said that he just can't push it because he's too loose getting in, but then he's tight across the center and he's not firing off very well. In that 78 either, it's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Parker.
For Joey Logano, the concern is he fired off well, but then lacked raw speeds before Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, Dave.
Kyle Busch relying on engineering and crew chief to make some changes. A wrench went in the window, 4 tires and fuel. We'll see how he does on the next run.
And look at this, the race off pit road brought to you by Coca-Cola. Joey Logano and that pit crew gets him out front, gaining 2 spots.
It's NASCAR's Championship Sunday, and we are not done yet. In a lot of ways, we are just getting started. The final stage about to begin. Our post-race coverage goes well into the evening, both on NBC and NBCSN. If you joined us for the pre-race show, Kyle and Dale said each championship driver racing for or with something special. Speed for Harvick, momentum for Joey Logano, for Martin Truex, motivation, history for Kyle Busch. Right before I came out here to the pit box, I asked Kyle Petty, I said, which one is going to make the difference? He said none of them. It's going to be the nighttime. When the sun goes down, one team will rise up. So let me ask our drivers upstairs. Dale Jr., Jeff Burton, is that the case? Are we about to see possibly an entirely different race?
Well, there's 100 laps to go. This is the final stage. I think we're going to have a late yellow. I've been paying attention to who has the short run speed. Logano showed some short run speed at times. Harvick has had it all day. So I think Harvick right now is in the best position.
What kind of race we have will have a huge determination. If it's a long run, you know, that's going to be one guy. If it's a short run, that's going to be another. The other thing is pit road. We've seen positions changed on pit road. We just saw it there. Joey Logano with a big gain. We've been waiting to see it all day long. That pit crew finally stepped up, got their lead for the driver.
Final 101 laps of the season, of the race. Will there be a different race winner than the champion? It has taken a race win to win the championship. Logano, Harvick, side by side. Final stage underway.
Interesting for Logano to pick the high side there. Tough to hold off this 4-car running that bottom, but he's on that quarter panel, Jeff.
4-car cleared him.
Loses it. Yeah, he lost a little bit of momentum right there.
The bottom's been the way to go on these restarts.
That's what I thought. I was surprised, just like you, the 22 picking that outside line.
See the 22 still using the middle of the racetrack. Everybody else on the bottom. Kyle Busch behind this. You saw he cleared everybody from 5th.
It's a dogfight behind him.
Look at that mess Kyle Busch got in front of.
Look who's in front of that dogfight. The 48 of Jimmy Johnson, still searching for his first win of 2018.
How about Harvick up the racetrack? Shocked to see him up there that early.
Look how low the 22's going to get away from the side draft of the 4-car.
The two fighting for the lead. Logano to the inside. Harvick staying up high. Here comes the 78. Things are heating up. Logano up front. Harvick running second now. Side drafting, and will Martin Truex Jr. complete the pass as they go into 1?
Harvick struggling on these thicker tires early into this run.
Shocked to see him up the racetrack. He's been a bottom hugger all day long, and now he's in the middle of the track.
Yeah, he's got some balance issues that I don't think he's had all day long. costing a lot of time right now. That car, though, has done this before and cycled to the good, gotten the speed back, and you look as he goes to the bottom of the track, here he comes.
Hey, that's a great point. Steve talked about it before the last run. It was a short run, so maybe they did a little bit of air pressure change, make that thing fire off. Now they're back to their normal setups because they think they're going to get a long run.
We've seen this before with Joey Logano. Short run speed, 27 laps into stage 2. Then he started struggling. Will that happen again?
Look who's running 1 and 2 now. Joey Logano out in front. Martin Truex Jr. running second. And it wasn't that long ago when the tables were turned on these two drivers. Martin Truex Jr. was out front. Joey Logano was running second. The question was, would Joey Logano put the bumper to the 78? He definitely did. They raced to the start-finish line, and Logano got the advantage. Well, Martin Truex Jr. said when he races Joey Logano, he races him different.
I won't just wreck a guy, you know, unless it's 22.
Can he catch him?
Yeah, well.
And what will he do when he gets there?
The 22 fired off at the start of stage 2. About 27 laps in, he started to struggle big time, dropping back into 3rd, 4th position. If that happens again, Truex is going to have the opportunity to close. Well, we heard that audio of Martin Truex Jr. before the end of stage 2. Said he was in the 2nd position last year, and because of that, they were able to do something different. Cole Pearn and him worked a little different strategy, and it gave him an advantage. That's the other question with 96 laps to go. Everyone can make it on just one stop, guys. But will a crew chief really gamble? Tires are worth so much. Would you stop twice? Would you break the run up differently? I mean, if you're Kyle Busch back in 5th and you don't think you could beat the 3 in front of you heads up, you may gamble, Kelly, come to pit road at an odd time and really get those other crew chiefs scratching their head.
And now think about it, just 95 laps to go for this race team as an entire organization. It's certainly been an emotional week for Furniture Row Racing, especially when they loaded up the hauler for the very last time out in Denver, Colorado. Crew Chief Cole Pearn said he didn't think they were prepared for just how emotional it was. They told me there were a lot of grown men crying that night. They said when that lift gate went up, they realized that it was the last time they were going to do this together as a group. You know there's going to be a celebration at the end of this race, no matter how it turns out. They want to celebrate the success that they have had together over the years, but if they can pull off back-to-back championships, it's going to be one heck of a party.
And it's been announced that Martin Truex Jr. and Cole Pearn, driver and crew chief, they will race for Joe Gibbs Racing in 2019. That has been decided. But the rest of the crew, no one's left. They're all still a part of Furniture Row Racing. They're all still looking for jobs. Well, with the exception of about 15 drivers or 15 crew members, and Barney Visser has said, I want them to be a part of my organization here, my work that I have here.
The last lap, Martin Truex Jr. just finally ran faster than Joe Logano at a 41 to a 42. Before that, Logano had been quicker by 2 tenths, then a tenth and a half, and a tenth. Starting to even out now. Can Truex close in? All the while, Harvick back here struggling. Let's take a look.
Yeah, as good as he was at the beginning of that last run, not in this run.
Watch his hands.
It's way free right there, back of the car, not in the racetrack. Marty.
Jeff, you can see free on entry for Kevin Harvick. He has not said a word on the radio about that, though. That coming from Tim Fedua, the spotter. Clearly, they've been very good, and their strength on this core car all day long has been the longer runs. That's what they're banking on here. 92 to go.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done? We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch old bandit run.
Whatever party you got going in the back, we got the business up front.
Pieces or cups? Pieces or cups? Pieces or cups? Pieces in cups! Man, we're killing it over here, huh? Not sorry. Reese's.
Bank of America gives Matt the power to stay on top of his money, so he keeps Brutus comfortable.
Erica, when was my last transaction at Pupper Pillows?
Okay, here's what I found.
That went by fast. Hey, buddy. Want to take a ride to the pet store?
Just talk, type, or tap to view past transactions and more. It's easier than ever with Erica, your virtual financial assistant, only from Bank of America.
Are we ready for the half-court challenge? The shot is up. Hey, sir, your order's ready. Yeah! Sir, your order.
It feels like a big win when you get a deal like this.
This is unbelievable.
Introducing McDonald's new $6 Classic Meal Deal. Choose one of 4 favorites. Plus, any size soft drink, small fries, and a pie. All for just $6.
On February 17th, the stage will be set for racing's greatest day. A day to witness history, to feel the intensity, make lasting memories, and be on the edge of your seat. This is the day you've been waiting for. This is the Daytona 500. The greatest race awaits. Experience the Daytona 500 in person. Guarantee your seats before they sell out at Daytona500.com.
Only 87 laps remaining in the Ford EcoBoost 400, the Monster Energy Cup Series from Miami. Well, NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can watch throughout the broadcast and select alternate camera angles. That means you'll never miss a lap with NASCAR Drive. Visit NASCAR.com/drive. On a drive, 42 seems like he is coming. He right now is running third.
He just passed Kevin Harvick for third place. Starting to close in a little bit on Truex. Truex is moving around. He was as fast as the 22 of our leader, Logano. But now the leader, Logano, has found some speed. Martin's moving around. The 42's on the fence, and he's coming.
And they told him, they're coming back to you now, bud. Chad Johnson, the crew chief, told me that in practice we never had much on the short runs, but boy, once they got it wound up and put 15 or 20 laps on, the 42 will go.
And he looks like he's going to try to take second away from Truex Jr. here shortly. The problem will be the lap traffic. Right now there are 19 cars on the lead lap.
There's some urgency building, I think, with the 78 car. The final stretch for the last 5 races here has been 34 laps or less, but you cannot guarantee that you're going to get that late yellow. You cannot let that 22 get too big of a lead. You've got to keep that gap close. If you can't catch him in passing, you want to keep him within sight.
Well, long run speed has not been the 22 strengths today. They're good on short run speed, long run speed. They'll start running him down. If this is any different, I don't know why it'd be any different. The only difference is now you can see how dark it is. All the lights are on. Track tip's cooling down. That's the only reason that something should change. See Kevin Harvick making a run back on Larson. Marty.
Hey, Jeff, the 4 team has been outstanding on pit road today, but they just got a little boost down here in pit road. Daniel Smith, a longtime rear tire changer. We have talked about him. He's a longtime tire changer for the 4 car. There he is. He was diagnosed with cancer back in August. He is back at the track today for the first time. A little high five for Tony Stewart there. He finished his final round of chemo Friday, out of the hospital yesterday at 6 a.m., and he expects to be back at pit practice in 2 weeks. As long as the doctors give him a clean bill of health, he's going to watch this final stage down here for the 4 team and certainly give them a lift emotionally.
Really rooting on the guys, and you can see the way Kevin Harvick is driving. He wants to do all he can for everybody on this team. Again, Harvick running 4th, trying to chase down Kyle Larson once again. Logano out front, Truex Jr. running 2nd.
We mentioned Kyle Larson, and guys, he was coming. But you've harped on it all weekend, guys. Lap traffic. Well, look at the 42 right here. The 97 won't move. The 99 won't move. So the 42 has to go to the bottom. And when he goes to the bottom, he is beyond ordinary. He is average or below average. Look how much time he loses to the 78. Kevin Harvick gets all the way next to the 42, over 1 second because of traffic. Keep that in mind. With 82 laps to go, that time it was Kyle Larson. But next time, could it be Joey Logano? Could it be Kevin Harvick? Could that be something that helps decide the championship?
If you go to the bottom to go around lap car and you do not clear him off corner exit, if he's still on your outside, you cannot go back to the throttle. So you basically are riding down the whole straightaway at half speed. I mean, it really kills your speed not to be able to clear those guys on corner exit like that.
With 80 laps to go, do we see it? No rear grip from the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Do we see an advantage out of any of the 4 right now?
So Walt turn, no rear grip, with no change. So what's going on right now is the track's changing.
Yes.
So because you didn't make a change, now you know it's a track. So now you have to adjust to that the next time you come on pit road.
You asked a question, Rick. I think Logano and Truex are even. It's who has the long run speed. If this goes further, we don't get a caution. It's who has that long run speed. They seem to be trading laps. Logano will be faster than Truex, and Truex will be faster than Logano.
Well, and does Adam Stevens have the guts? Does he think he has to is really the question. Will he throw a Hail Mary in about 10 laps? If you came in 9 or 10 laps, you'd be saying, I'm going to pit twice, Rick. The math says it may not work, but sometimes you have to do what your only option is at closing on 5.5 seconds behind Joey Logano. He knows he has to have a yellow at this situation versus take it on yourself. Get completely off strategy. It would be the gamble of a lifetime with a career on the line or with a championship on the line, but Dave, sometimes that's what it's going to take.
Steve, they haven't said yet if that is going to be their plan. Certainly don't want to give away what they're going to do. But Kyle has been silent on the radio since that restart. Talk from the spotter stand. He looks a little bit loose, but right now, Kyle trying to find some way to get back up toward the front.
42 is coming. You said it, Jeff. About 15, 20 laps into a run. It's lap 23 into this run. Taking away second place from Martin Truex Jr. These guys are both a second behind your leader.
But more importantly than that, Martin Truex Jr. has been coming on Logano. So he is faster right now than Logano, not by a lot, but steadily gaining ground, just a little bit quicker.
And will they start changing lines now that the sun has gone down and the track begins to cool? Will we see drivers scramble and try to find that grip, try to find the speed around the racetrack? Right now it's Logano up front. As we go NASCAR nonstop, you won't miss a thing.
I can't believe it.
That Grandpa's nose is performing Flight of the Bumblebee?
No, you goof. I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Nice.
I know, right?
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The quarter-pound double-stack cheeseburger from Sonic with 2 layers of melty cheese right in the middle. You know what they say, it's what's on the inside that counts. Get a $2.99 double-stack cheeseburger plus tots before they're gone. This is how you Sonic.
Does this make you want a Reese's? Oh, how about this? Okay, we'll stop. Just kidding. We're not gonna stop. Not sorry. Reese's.
When somebody's buying a truck, they're buying an answer to the questions they get every day. When are you gonna get that done? How much more can you do? The people we build our trucks for know what they need to get done. They know when a truck answers all their questions.
Now get 1,000 Black Friday bonus cash for an average $10,000 in total values on the all-new 2019 Ram 1500.
You saw it all in nonstop. The caution has come out. What could have been a race for the lead now has Kyle Larson right now on the apron, and he is headed for pit road. Kyle Larson having an issue with the right side of that car.
Guys, we just watched it live. He touched the fence a little bit, came down the front stretch in front of us. Dale Jr. moved off the wall to show his spotter how much damage it had. And then the next set of corners, the right rear goes flat. Here he is. He knows he hits the wall. He moves off the front stretch. That's the only way the spotter can see it. You see the right rear tire has no more yellow lettering, Dale Jr., and then eventually the tire goes down.
Yeah, it's a tough break. We saw it last night with Xfinity cars with composite bodies. Those guys could lean on those bodies a lot. Not with these bodies. Can't damage these bodies. You get in the fence, you knock the you knock the aerodynamics out of the car or flatten the tire like he's done here.
And that's the danger. There's a huge advantage in running up there. It's very, very fast, but the danger is this right here. That's why we have not seen the championship contenders go there. They just cannot afford to have this kind of problem. This could take your championship away if you're one of those 4 guys. And as he's had this problem, guess what that did? That put our championship contenders first, second, third, fourth. Will be an epic battle on pit road right here.
You said it, Jeff. We left Phoenix. We said this is the biggest 4 drivers we've had, the best stats, the big 3 and me. Joey Logano said, well, now the me of that, Joey Logano, the leader, the big 3 lined up behind him. They have dominated the regular season. And with 73 laps to go for a championship, 1 through 4, the pressure goes from the cockpit to pit road. Who is going to be flawless? You mentioned earlier perfect. I said you just need solid, or we're getting closer to needing perfect, Rick. With the championship's on the line, how about the 18 stall? Can they jump, maybe get that 18 to track position? He's the guy in 4th right now.
Last time they came to pit road, it was Joey Logano's crew that did a masterful job and got Joey Logano off of pit road first ahead of all of his other championship 4 contenders.
Right now. Well, I was going to say, Dale, right now with this extra lap, crew chief, I'm off the box. I'm going to go around, hit every one of my guys, try to knock the nerves down a little bit. Hey, you're the guy that got us here. We can do it. Just one more good stop, just that little bit pep talk. This is that moment where you have to be a leader. I know they've practiced. I know they've been in the gym, but Junior, nerves, that's what makes sports great. Can they do it?
This is another opportunity for the 4-car of Harvick, the 18 of Kurt Busch, to get on pit road and work on their race cars. They do not have enough speed right now to be able to contend with Logano and Truex, and they know that. This is a great chance for them to improve.
Listen into Harvick's radio.
Do you think if we put this tape on there, we need a little wedge to go along with it? It's probably not going to hurt.
Well, there you go, Tony Gibson. They're going to put some tape back on the nose. I think they had it on earlier. They peeled it off. But what he needs to know is, listen, that's a couple adjustments. So even if I put some tape on that, it's going to add downforce. It's going to be grip. That's going to make the front turn. You want a little bit of wedge. Maybe put a little grip in the back of the car as well. And, you know, I heard, well, it's not going to hurt. I would take that as a yes.
My favorite adjustment on the race car was tape on the grill. You always went faster. It was the best thing ever. It's just extra downforce.
Oh, yeah. It's like dessert. Everyone loves it.
And remember, Tony Gibson asking that question.
That's right.
Those two haven't worked together all season long like Rodney Childers and Kevin Harvick have. Now it's Tony Gibson that's trying to make these calls.
That's what over 400 races on top of a pit box gets you. That experience. Sometimes it's not about the numbers. It's not about the math. It's about understanding the situation. Tony Gibson gets it. He's a veteran.
This could be championship winning time right here. Let's see who steps up.
Kevin Harvick's team has been flawless on pit road, Rick. Mike Morneau will not only carry the front tires, he'll also change, and he is going to put tape on the grill for Kevin Harvick. That request he made a moment ago. They're also going to make their first wedge adjustment of the day. The worst it handled all day long was that run for Kevin Harvick. 2 free off, Kelly.
The 78 pit crew has gained spots the last 2 times down pit road. Martin Truex Jr. said it fired off better, but he still had to use the track bar inside the cockpit, so they're going to make a chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel, Parker.
The 22 team got Joey Logano the lead. The last stop, they're going to put tape on and 4 Goodyear tires. Can they keep it, Dave?
Hung up on the front was the front tire changer, got the air gun hose caught, and that is going to cost Kyle Busch.
A lot of positions lost for the 18 team and Kyle Busch. 4 spots lost. Denny Hamlin gains 3, but Logano and Truex holding first and second.
Laps to go at Miami for a championship. Rick, we talked about pit road, and it has been a rough go for the 18 of Kyle Busch. It happened early at the end of stage 1. Watch the front tire changer. A little bit of struggle going back on with the right front. Has to fix a lug nut. That costs him time. That might be recoverable, but then comes to the left side, has issues again. You see the pressure, and here it was. Time for the money stop. You have to be perfect. Tire change goes good, but look at the air hose. When he leaves, catches on the fender. That's his job, his responsibility. Has to get that underneath the front of the car. It's been a rough go for the 18, Burton.
And an opportunity missed for the 4-car right front, just a little bit slow. Not anything like we saw with the 18, but you can see he's behind the rear tire changer right there. That little bitty small thing kept the 4 car from being clear of the 78 and the 11 off of pit road.
Of the championship 4, it's Logano, Truex Jr., Harvick 1, 2, and 3, Kyle Busch all the way down to 8.
And even with 69 to go, this restart's important, but we still have one more pit stop ahead of us, Rick.
They can't make it all the way on fuel, and I'm sure that they're going to want tires again. Side by side. Logano on the outside. Martin Truex Jr. on the inside. 68 laps to go.
Logano picked the outside again. Let's see if that works.
Man, that restart was real spread out between the front several rows. You think the restarts get more aggressive on in this final stage? Not so much yet.
Logano had a good surge through turn 1, but here comes the 78 again.
Look at Kyle Busch back there.
Kyle Busch making up ground on the outside. Moving into the top 5. Now Logano trying to fight back on the outside. Trying to get by Truex Jr. 22, 78, fighting for the lead.
Still down there on your tight. I'll let you know when he dives off. Door on your tight.
It's only 67 laps to go, but this could be the pass for the lead. They know it. They've got a race like that.
Look at Hamlin coming into the picture.
Little bobble there by the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. Denny Hamlin, as you mentioned, comes into play. He's running 3rd. Now Kevin Harvick's trying to take that spot away. Logano surges out to the front.
Kevin's been happy all day long on the bottom of the racetrack. See, the 11 of Hamlin cannot quite clear him on the exit. That's going to clear Harvick. Parker.
And Jeff, Joey Logano just came on the radio and said, I got hit in the left rear. Check it out. Make sure it's all right. Meaning Runner Truex Jr. did actually touch him coming off of turn 2 earlier.
You can let him know it looks good here on the camera. I don't see any smoke. The quarter panel looks straight.
See it right there.
Yeah, a little bend.
See it right there.
Middle of the door.
More importantly, though, Steve, what's the right front of the 78 car look like?
Yeah.
Because where that damage is on the 22, no damage. That's not going to hurt him as far as performance. What about the 78?
I disagree. You can see that 22 tires getting a little slick, getting a little shiny. It's a very light rub. Don't see any smoke, but it's definitely knocking the letters off the tire.
That little bit of contact when these two were fighting for the lead now has a question mark for the 22 team. And here comes the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Definitely getting bigger in the mirror of Martin Truex Jr.
So the change to the 4 car, clearly better. Clearly taking off better than he did the run before.
Tony Gibson asked, I'm going to put a little tape on the nose. You want some wedge? Yeah, I want some wedge. You see the tape, that bright orange square? That's tape on the nose of the 4.
Let's take a look here and see if we see that contact between the 78 of Truex and Logano. Cut up off of turn 2. Oh, they door banged each other, so there's definitely some damage to the right side of the 78. Wow, that was hard contact.
It was hard contact.
Now you have to wonder, did the exhaust come into play there and maybe scratch a tire or maybe potentially cut a tire on the 78?
They're just lucky that didn't happen, and I think they're both in the clear right now, but you got to wonder if that hurt the right front of the 78 car aerodynamically and it's made that car a little bit tight. Marty.
Junior, you can just feel the intensity pick up on pit road among these championship 4 cars. You know, Kevin Harvick talked about that wedge adjustment you mentioned, Steve, but the one thing he insisted on, that orange piece of tape. Steve, how is it that a 2-inch piece of tape can mean so much to a driver trying to win a championship?
We hear the complaints all the time about aerodynamics. People don't love aerodynamics in racing. Well, listen, folks, it's not going away. These cars are finely tuned machines. Every count of downforce makes a car faster. That small little piece of tape, 5 or 10 counts, that could be a 1/10 of a second in lap time. I know the driver can feel that much downforce.
And they have to balance the temperature, because if they're going to cover up that hole, that means that less air gets into the engine, correct, Steve?
Well, yes, and at this point, though, I would be closer to too hot than too cool. This is the time, right? 62 laps to go. You have to push everything to its limits. That includes the temperature. Doug Yates is listening. He didn't like that answer.
Kevin Harvick is running 3rd. Logano and Truex running 1 and 2.
And look where they're running. Look where the top 3 cars are running. No one on the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody's gone to the middle. Truex on the bottom. That lap, he's been in the middle.
Yeah, they're definitely, they seem to favor running lower in 1 and 2 than they do in turn 3 and 4. Most of them have been running the middle of turn 3 and 4. Truex going to commit to the bottom on this corner. This is a pass between teammates. This puts the 18 car Kyle Busch into 4th place.
Great recovery. Great recovery by this 18 car. Bad pit stop. He's got himself back in position now to win this championship. Still a lot of work to do, but that, you know, if you get the right caution, now you recovered, you can still make it happen.
Best driver on restarts, Kyle Busch. Restarted 8th, came off turn 2 in 5th. That restart overcame the pit mistakes.
We go NASCAR nonstop.
Unlike Santa's presents, ours don't just magically appear. They're designed meticulously. Every bolt, stitch, line of code, tested and tested again. Until finally this. Elves got nothing on us. Ford, built for the holidays. Time to get our best offers of the season.
Big Australia is back, and your favourites are even bigger with the big, juicy 18-ounce centre-cut sirloin, the ultimate Great Barrier combo, and the new 3-cheese steak dip. Hurry in, food this big is only here for a limited time.
Kevin here says Mobil 1 annual protection is proven to protect for 20,000 miles.
It'll save you a lot of time.
Dad, with all this extra time...
Sorry, buddy. Kevin and I have a tea time at 11.
20,000 miles guaranteed. Mobil 1 annual protection.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Oh, hey, Martin. It's going... not great.
I need to get you guys back to 100%. My work here is done.
5-hour energy. Get back to 100%.
About ready to do this? Yep.
Come on, boy, let's get him.
Outdoor memories start with great gifts from Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's Black Friday sale, with huge savings like men's 5-pocket jeans for under $10, plush pillow dog beds for only $10, and save 50% on Red Head canvas work jackets. Doors open Black Friday at 5 a.m.
You are so spoiled.
On February 17th, the stage will be set for racing's greatest day. A day to witness history, to feel the intensity, make lasting memories, and be on the edge of your seat. This is the day you've been waiting for. This is the Daytona 500. The greatest race awaits. Experience the Daytona 500 in person. Guarantee your seats before they sell out at Daytona500.com.
Tonight's aerial coverage presented by Coca-Cola. Looking down on this beautiful 1.5-mile facility here in Homestead, Miami. And take a look at how the Championship 4 are running. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. They have worked their way back up to the front. And now let's go through the field, brought to you by KFC. Parker?
Nighttime has been the right time for the 22. We told you all through the first part of the race they're waiting for nighttime to come. They've only made air pressure adjustments on that car, and sure enough, the car is turning a lot better for Joey Logano. You know, when we saw that aggressive racing with the 78, I asked Todd Gordon about his perception amongst other racers. He said, you know, he reminds me a lot of a racer that had a very aggressive style that this sport fell in love with, and we support him for that, Kelly.
Well, it's been all quiet on the 78 radio, but when I asked Martin about his team shutting down earlier this week, he told me the last 5 years have been the time of my life. I've had more success than I've ever had and reached dreams and goals I've had since I was a kid with this group. There were times when I thought my career was over and no one believed in me, but the people who mattered did, my fans, my family, and when I got with this team, they resurrected my career and made me a champion. Now just 53 laps to go for him to go back-to-back champion.
Kelly, just one lap ago, Kevin Harvick said the balance is, quote, still not right on the 4 cars, and I just don't have the rear grip that I need. And I go back to 2014, the year they won the championship, Dave. On that night, they went on the offensive, pitted earlier than everybody else. I wonder if they'll do it here tonight.
Marty, on the first 2 pit miscues, Kyle Busch didn't say anything on the radio, but this last one was so important.
Fantastic day for all this. I can't pass a car, beat you guys, and I got... We're all dying right here with you, man. Got 70 laps. Make it happen.
You heard the veteran leadership of Adam Stevens there. It is tough. We're dying with you, but look what Kyle did on that restart. 4 positions picked up, Parker.
Denny Hamlin behind him and led 41 laps early in this race, then had a miscue, had to fight his way all the way back through the field. And he just came across the radio and said, we have a car we can win with, which is music to the ears of his crew chief, Mike Wheeler. It's their last race, Kelly.
Eric, Almirola and crew chief Johnny Klossmeyer attribute a lot of their late season success to the simple fact that they were returning to racetracks together for the second time. Well, that exception is here in Miami. The series only comes here once a year for this championship race, so they had to go back and rely on teammate notes from Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick. I say those notes are paying off as Aric Almirola running 6th. Marty?
Chase Elliott is in 8th right now, actually in 7th as he passes Clint Bowyer. The car much better, no changes on the last 2 stops, guys.
Battle for the lead. Joey Logano now has his hands full. Here comes the 78. Martin Truex Jr. trying to make that lower line work.
Martin Truex Jr. had been a little bit quicker than Joey and kind of closing in, but on that last lap, the 47 car played a huge role in that pass right there. The 22 went to the bottom of the track, the 78 to the high side, and he got a huge run on the 22.
Remember, those two touched right at the restart, and they're still fighting side by side.
Martin Truex Jr. closed in from a second back in 6 laps. He's got a great race car. The 22, the short run speed's there, but maybe not as long, not as good as it was earlier in the race.
If there was one car that Martin Truex Jr. said he would move, it was the 22, and now he's within striking distance.
Here he goes, man. I can't believe he didn't even get that close to him, Jeff. Get such disturbed air behind those guys. Look at him.
Now he's underneath him. He's going to go straight to the bottom of the racetrack, side draft him, turn way to the left, get your left sides on this white line. Don't overdrive it. Going to clear the 22.
He goes. He's in front of the 22. Now will the 22 fight back?
22 does not have enough grip right now to fight back.
He doesn't. He's been having a little bit of trouble after 20 laps into these runs with his car. And with 48 to go, knowing there's a pit stop left, clean as a whistle. Never touched the 22. We'll see if he has that to do over again in 40 laps, how clean he goes by. But right there, Martin Truex Jr. shows he can pass him clean on the racetrack.
But will Joey Logano get aggressive? He's shown that he will on a short track. Will he do it here for the championship and his first championship? Logano doesn't have a title.
It's not up to Joey Logano right now. The question who's going to be aggressive is Todd Gordon on the 22 pit box. You just saw it, guys. Your driver was run down and he was passed. You have 22 laps of this tire. As we see, the 20 of Erik Jones has another flat right rear. If he gets back to pit road and we stay green, I really think a big call would be 4, 5, 6 more laps. You might see somebody hit pit road. I'm wondering if this is the time that the 22 might put that car up against the wall, try to find a little extra speed to stay close to the 78, keep this race tight. Parker.
And Steve, you mentioned how aggressive do they get with pit strategy. That is their MO. I was talking about Todd Gordon about that earlier today, and he said, you know, in 2016, we short pitted everyone because we didn't want them to have a chance to even react to put their pit crews up there. And so now the ball's kind of in his court. If they start to lose that 78, how early do you come in? How early do you short pit to try to get that advantage on new tires?
It's not all math, Rick. Math would say... There you go, gonna try running the wall. Hey, you're excited. Dale Jr.'s excited. Math would say 13, 14 more laps, kind of split it in the middle. But this isn't just math. This isn't science. This is emotion. This is sports for a championship. If I'm Todd Gordon, I would come very early. 4 or 5 laps from now, knowing I'm gonna be upside down on tires. But Rick, if you want to beat me for a championship, you're gonna have to pass me in the final 10 laps.
Heating up again as we go NASCAR nonstop.
Pieces or cups? Pieces or cups? Pieces or cups? Pieces in cups! Man, we're killing it over here, huh? Not sorry. Reese's.
Toyota. Let's go places.
Wow.
Bank of America gives Rachel the power to stay on top of her money, so she's ready to make moves.
Think you can get this place?
Really hope so. Erica, what's my credit score?
Your FICO score is 705.
That's good, right? Let me see. I think so.
Just talk, type, or tap to find better money habits, know-how, and more with Erica, your virtual financial assistant, only from Bank of America.
From the South Georgia plains to the North Georgia mountains and everywhere in between. Once a year, the young and the old descend on our NASCAR race weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway, building new traditions and rekindling old ones as a new season springs to life. Racing runs deep into the heart of Georgia for the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 weekend, February 22nd through 24th. Experience the thrills for just $44. Visit AtlantaMotorspeedway.com.
Sunday Night Football, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings visit Mitchell Trubisky and the division-leading Bears at Soldier Field. Football night in America at 7 Eastern and kickoff at 8:20 p.m. tonight only on NBC.
Rick, we saw this play out last night, a long green flag run to the finish. The 0-0 of Cole Custer had probably the best car. He stayed out the longest. The 9 of Tyler Reddick beat him to pit road, got some track position, eventually winning the race. Here we are, Martin Truex Jr. leading the race by 1.7 seconds over Logano, 3.5 over Harvick, 7.2 back to Kyle Busch in 5th. I don't think the 78 can come first, but I think another car could come to pit road, and if they do, it's going to force the issue. We see the 37 has a flat right rear tire. Looks like he's going to get the debris on pit road, though, so it stays green. When will somebody behind the 78 pit? Will it be Joey Logano? Will it be Kyle Busch?
Well, Truex is 0.2 a lap faster than Logano and Harvick. So they're going to have to think about something different. They're not going to just be able to sit here and just run around and be driven away from by 0.2 a second with 39 laps to go.
Pit stops are starting. Chase Elliott comes on the pit road from 7th place. 12 car Ryan Blaney.
Now you mentioned all those guys.
Also on pit road.
Rick, but I was going to say, here's the two different races, right?
Denny Hamlin coming to pit road out of 4th place.
But those aren't playoff cars. There's 2 races here. I'm with you, but that would call me.
These could be race-winning moves for these guys.
Absolutely.
And guys, Denny Hamlin pits out at 5th place. As you said, he's one of the first cars on pit road. He's been early all day compared to the Championship 4. Just very tight inside that race car. He said earlier he has a race car that can win this race. This might be the move that gets it done. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for Denny Hamlin.
And a big championship move here. Kevin Harvick's coming to pit road. Marty.
Rick, we talked about it in 2014. They went on the offensive thinking they didn't have the car to win. It paid off with a win for Kevin Harvick and a championship. Tony Gibson making the call to come to pit road. Harvick said the balance just not right. A wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. They're the first to pit road, and they intentionally did not tell him to come to pit road until after the 78 had passed the opening to pit road.
Move, counter move. The 4 of Kevin Harvick comes to pit road. Cole Pern says, I know you're going to beat me 1 lap. You won't beat me 2. He calls Martin Truex Jr. Behind him, Joey Logano. They know they have to stay close to the 4. Now it's no penalties, no pit road speed issues, Kelly, and smooth pit stops.
And Steve, you're exactly right. As soon as Cole Pern saw the 4 come to pit road, he called Martin Truex Jr. in that 78 to come down. Truex has been silent on the radio. He has just been quietly going about his work as he took over the lead. It's going to be 4 tires for the 78, Parker.
The 22, Joe Logano, simply followed the 78 down pit road. Once they saw the 78 was pitting, he went right behind him. He's been too loose in the top lane to run up next to the wall. An air pressure adjustment in 4 tires. Let's see who wins this race.
Wow, the 22 car beat the 78 off pit road.
By a ton. The 22 beat him by a ton. The 78 came with a big lead. Slow stop on the 78.
Well, the whole situation.
There's Kevin Harvick on the racetrack.
Yes, that's the race right there. The race for the championship. Who will get off pit road first? Kevin Harvick comes to pit road first. Fresh tires, takes the championship lead.
Now can he hold off the 22?
Well, the one situation we have, let me not get ahead of myself,
Yes.
but Kyle Busch is yet to pit. So a yellow would change everything completely, but we know he has to do a green flag pit stop. He's still on the racetrack because he was so far behind. But short of a yellow saving him, this will be the race for the championship.
Joey Logano needs to take advantage of these tires right now. 1 lap doesn't sound like a bunch, but it is a ton of speed. Joey Logano Logano needs to get the 4-car right now. Tony Stewart knows it. Tony knows he needs to have his driver hold this track position.
And here comes the 22. The 4 and 22. Both have been to pit road. They don't have to come to pit road anymore. The 18 still on the racetrack has the race lead, but the race for the championship is building right here between the 4 and the 22.
So the 18 needs a yellow. That's his strategy, guys. Adam Stevens says, they beat me to pit road. I had to stay on the racetrack. Dave.
Steve, as the lead is underway here, Logano to the top now. They're going to try side by side. Harvick's going to have it off the corner, though. They talked about it. He even asked his driver, what do you need, even if it came to pit road. But then he said, nope, we're too far back. We have to stretch it here and hope for a caution.
That's it. The 18's hoping for a yellow. So barring a yellow, Rick, this is it. The battle, 33 to go.
Here comes Logano again on the high side, making that high line work.
He's got some great runs off that top side, but it's just not enough. The 4-car making that bottom work just as well. Now, is he going to move up the racetrack a little bit? They're catching some lap traffic. 22 trying to get to that quarter panel, not going to be able to get it done.
And the 4 taking the air away from the 22, moving up into his line.
Be careful. Joey Logano showed at Martinsville what he's willing to do just to make the final race. This is for a championship, Dale Jr.
See Kevin Harvick on that bottom, painting that left side tires on that line. He's going to be hearing from the spot. As long as the spotter says he's clear, he's going to run that line. Logano's going to try to run the middle, going to try to find some speed. The spotter for the 4-car is just going to tell him, give him that information. Logano to the bottom now. It's a game of cat and mouse, because all you're trying to do if you're Kevin Harvick, you just got to hold this track position. Take that air away from the 22 the best you can.
Listening to the spotter of the 4.
Clear.
See if he gives him information on the 22 and what line.
All clear. Whatever you need here. 4 up in front of you. All clear.
How about how calm that is? Think about that. I thought you'd hear a little nerves on the radio, maybe a little more information about Joey Logano, but he was calm as can be, just letting them know when he was clear of lap traffic. Jeff, to your point, not really giving him any information about what line the 22's running behind him.
Basically, the 22 just wants to go where the 4 isn't. He wants to go where the lap track isn't. Wherever he can find clean air. This 34 car is going to give you some trouble off of turn 4 here. That's going to cost him a little bit of speed.
And look at Truex. He came in with the lead. Look how far back he is right now. He's lost a ton of track position. His car not as good as it was earlier.
With 30 laps to go, I don't know if it's going to be good enough. Even if it is faster than these guys, I don't know if it's enough to run down this 4-car who is driving away from the 22.
And remember, Kyle Busch out front. But fuel-wise, Steve, he can't make it unless you would slow down so ridiculously that these guys would be able to catch him.
Well, yeah, listen, the 18 of Kyle Busch, he's probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 laps short on fuel. I understand it, but even if he doesn't try to save gas, new tires alone are going to run the 18 down. But I love this call by Adam Stevens. He was behind. He didn't have a choice. Run as long as you can. You never know when a caution will save your chances.
And Steve, it was their only shot left. They have tried to work on this race car. They have tried to make it better. Kyle gave them feedback. They worked on things, but then they'd lose positions on pit road. So with that delta back to where they were, there was no way they were going to jump them and come to pit road. This was their only shot.
2 other teams with the same strategy. Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson. Why does that matter? Well, the caution came out right now, then you pit from 4th if you're Kevin Harvick. You don't pit from 2nd. So those 2 cars' strategy could come into play here.
I love when crew chiefs know everything that's dealt to them. He doesn't like it. Adam Stevens wishes he had a car fast enough to pit. But you got to continue to crew chief. You can't just hang your head.
He's running for a championship, fighting for another title. They battled through adversity in Kyle Busch's first championship when he broke his leg and foot in an accident at Daytona. Now the adversity seems to be the car, not as fast as the other 3 competitors that he's fighting for this title with. So now they try strategy.
Hey, Martin Truex Jr., he's not done. We talked about him a little while ago, not having the speed. The last few laps, he's been faster than Harvick. Logano, he has been coming on the bottom of the racetrack, making ground on those 2. You can see him in front of him. That's a championship sitting right there. You know he's driving his guts out.
Last time by, Harvick just a little bit faster than both Logano and Truex. They're both running 33.7s. Laps right on top of each other. Your leader's at a 35.7. Kelly.
Remember that slow pit stop for the 78. It turns out there was an issue with the jack. Here's the team communication.
Happened, Jack, though? Yeah, it's off the jack. You cutie. Well, certainly going to try, bud. The floor is one lap earlier than us, so they're going to get racing each other here.
And then you guys mentioned those fast lap times that Truex has put down. Well, just before that, Martin came over the radio and said, all right, here we go.
Coming up on 25 laps to go, and that's 25 laps to go for this team. They will be non-existent after the checkered flag flies. Front row is done. In 2018, after winning the championship 1 year ago, they made the comment, they made the announcement, they were not going to continue racing. Barney Visser was going to close the doors after this season.
See him going by Jimmy Johnson, that's the position. Moves Harvick into third, Logano into fourth, Truex into fifth.
There they are, right there. He's running them down.
He is running them down, Jeff. Getting to them and passing them. A little bit different story. So, especially two of the best, Logano and Harvick, they're going to really, they know they're going to get aggressive. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be as hard to pass as they've been all day long.
Dale, I don't believe he's going to take a lot of time with that 22, though. If he can get to his bumper, I think you could move him right out of the way.
Well, the advantage right now is he's running the bottom and the 22 is running the middle. So aerodynamically, it's not hurting the 78. 78's where he wants to be. He wants to be on the bottom. Logano wants to be in the middle. That's an advantage to Truex with a faster car. But look at him coming right here. He's much faster than Logano.
Wow. He is. I can't believe he's running these guys down so quickly. Steve.
Well, you see the last pit lap. It just shows what Kyle Busch, he's out there trying to stretch his fuel tank, trying to stretch this set of tires, hoping for a yellow. Right now you have Martin Truex Jr. catching Joey Logano. Both of these two trying to catch Kevin Harvick, running third on the racetrack. But when pit stop cycle, that should be for the race win and the championship.
Logano went to the bottom right there. He's been watching his mirror and knew the 78 and Truex has been on the bottom. That's where he went. Take that air away from him.
Truex went a line above and then had some momentum. Now he dives to the inside. Tries to get to the inside of the 22. Steve, as you mentioned, he will not have any problem being impatient getting around the 22 because of the history they have had.
He's going to side draft right here a little bit, keep himself beside that 22, dive down into turn one and clear him. The 22 wants to stay on his quarter panel here on corner exit, though. Wow, the 22 gets in that corner really hard, really deep.
You know who's a big fan of the 22 right now? Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick needs Joey Logano to hold back this onslaught from the 78 of Truex. It's going to happen right here.
Look at Truex drive that car down in the corner. He's going to drive up in front of the 22, take his line, take the air away from him, take the position.
And now, 21 to go. It continues to whittle down on the 2018 season. The 78 trying to track down the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Again, Kyle Busch out front, but the gap between Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick now only 5.6 seconds. So unless a caution comes out in the next 3 laps, Kevin Harvick is going to catch Kyle Busch, and that strategy out the window.
Kyle Busch running 35 seconds.
And there's the caution. It has come out. The 19 of Daniel Suarez. You see the smoke coming out, and the right side has been slammed up against the wall.
Merry Christmas to the 18. There's no bigger break for Kyle Busch. You talk about gambles. Adam Stevens may have just pulled off a championship-winning strategy call. You see the top of the pit box. They know they didn't have a chance. They delivered a chance to their driver. Now it's time to communicate. Short run, 20 laps to go. A great pit stop.
They need a great pit stop, Steve, and we've seen 2 bad ones already from them.
Well, as Jeff pointed out, though, they still have Matt Kenseth in second. They have a little buffer right there. So the first car they'll be racing will be Kevin Harvick. He'll enter in third. What a break for Kyle Busch. We see right here the 19 of Daniel Suarez.
A 4-wide situation there.
Yeah.
And it was a domino effect. The 38 got into the 2 into the 19 of Suarez.
Suarez was able to save the car, but did blow the right front tire, sliding and flat spotting that tire, throwing debris all over the racetrack down the back straightaway. You see the reaction of the 18 team when they get that caution they need.
They're calmer than me. I'd have been fist pumping, jumping, dancing.
Parker.
And Joey Logano really wanted to see this as well. Speaking to his crew chief, Todd Gordon, this week, he said, selfishly, I want a 20-lap shootout because I put my driver up against anyone in a late race restart. And guess what? He's got his wish here.
I agree with him. He's got speed for 20 laps. That's it. His crew, this is where it's going to happen, Jeff. You've talked about this pit crew. all weekend long. They're going to have to make some magic right here to gain some spots for him.
They can't break even. If they break even and come out 5th, that's not going to do it. You can't come from 5th in maybe 15 laps to get the win. I don't think so. They're going to have a great stop.
Well, Jeff, we talked about the 18. They have had an up and down day. It'll all be forgotten with a great stop right here. Nobody will remember them slow stops. If Kyle Busch can come in the leader and come out the leader with under 20 to go, you give Kyle Busch the #1 starting spot for a championship. I like his odds. But now it's up to the pit crew.
One of the best on restarts. You put him in a favorable position, and he will be able to hold it up front. Here they come to pit road, Marty.
And the other factor here, Rick, we could be looking at a 15-lap, very short run for a championship. Kevin Harvick said because of that, we need to take off better. Car too tight on the takeoff and air pressure adjustment. The Ford crew has delivered all day long. We'll see if they can deliver again, Kelly.
Martin Truex Jr. has been really quiet on the radio, but Cole Pearn has said we now know what we need for a short run. We'll see what they do with 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Parker.
22 team has been awesome. Looks a little slow on the rear right now. They're going to pump up those tires for this late race restart, Dave.
Slight air pressure adjustment. Great stop for the AT crew. He's gone.
First in, first out.
And the crowd roaring. They heard it. They saw it. Kyle Busch stays up front. Martin Truex Jr. gaining a couple spots. Logano as well. And look at the 4 that will come off of pit road.
And you got to understand, I know he was first in, first off, but think about what Coach Gibbs did. He said, Denny Hamlin, I know you're the pole sitter, but we're going to give Kyle Busch the #1 pit stall. It hasn't worked most of the day, but when it really mattered most, great pit work. I think it would have worked from any pit stall, as good as that pit stall was.
A great stop.
All right, NASCAR fans, 18 laps to go, and your championship 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4.
Look at this. Poetry in motion when it works correct. Right side, left side, tires off, tires on. 1, 2, 3, 5, done. See you later. Kyle Busch go win a second championship. That's what they're thinking. They're done.
They put it into the hands of the driver. They've done everything they could.
Big bounce back.
Yeah, what an incredible bounce back for that team. And you wonder, will Kyle Busch come on the radio and let them know, hey, guys, you stepped up when it mattered?
Well, Kyle Busch needs to just focus on this restart right now. He hadn't led all day. He has not led a restart all day. He hasn't been in a position to choose the bottom, choose the top. He doesn't know. All these other guys have known what line they want to be in. He's going to have to take all the information from watching other restarts and apply that. First time leading a race right now today on a restart.
And Jeff, as we're riding around here under yellow, I don't think we can stop and say enough about what Adam Stevens did. They absolutely got lucky with the yellow flag. But it wasn't complete luck. It was a strategy. It was the only strategy Adam Stevens had. The veteran on top of the pit box. The combination of Adam Stevens and Kyle Busch has been magical since 2015. Kyle Busch breaks his leg in Daytona when these two are paired up. He gets back to health. They come back together. They come here. They win a championship. And they have been on top ever since. They have never missed the championship 4. Kyle Busch himself said, I want a second championship. He thinks it will define his legacy. Well, if this works in his favor when he gets done, he better thank that man on top of the pit box. A huge call by the crew chief.
Yeah, Kyle Busch and his team need to be commended, but we got to commend all 4 of these teams. Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick. They are all 4 sitting here in the top 4 with 17 laps to go. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it that these teams would perform to their best together all tonight? No one slipping, making mistakes, getting in crashes, having trouble.
Guys, in recent years, late race restarts have been amazing here at Miami.
3 laps left to go in this one. If Harvick can stay in it, that might be the win and move.
He is your 2014 NASCAR champ.
Holy cow! Unbelievable!
80,000 on their feet.
Kyle Busch is your leader.
Tonight he earns his first Cup title. Carl Edwards into the wall. He got tagged by the 22. Great restart for the 48. Jimmy Johnson out front.
Yes! Yes! I don't even know what to say.
It's coming down to the final 15 laps. The fans are on their feet. They're expecting a shootout. That's exactly what they're going to get. The 4 best all season long are now lining up in the top 4 positions.
You're one of these race car drivers. You've lived a life trying to win championships. Joey Logano does not have one. The other trying to get their second. The shot is right in front of you. 15 to go. Every one of them's in position. Who's going to take the big risk? Who's going to push the issue, trying to make something happen? It will be someone.
Kyle Busch trying to add to his legacy. He wants to be considered with the Johnsons, the Earnhardts, and the Pettys. He's got to win titles to do that, and he knows that. He's in position with this restart, starting on the outside. He's picked the outside line. Truex Jr., his team's shutting down. He's moving on to great things next year, but he would love to send this team out with another championship, back-to-back champions.
That's a tough pick. That 78 car has been bad fast on the bottom. You gave him the lane he's the best in. See how it works out.
We've seen how hungry Joey Logano is for a championship. He'll move somebody out of the way for the possibility to advance. Well, now it's, will I move someone out of the way for the possibility of a championship?
How about Matt Kenseth back there in his final race, sitting in 5th? What will he do?
You can see the most aggressive restart that we've seen all day long right here.
2 by 2 on the outside. Kyle Busch, Truex Jr. on the inside. Green flag back in the air.
Truex with a great start. Truex couldn't have done it any better.
18 trying to get to that quarter panel, the side draft a little bit, keep himself alongside, but he's not going to be able to do it. 78 to the lead and clear.
Martin Truex Jr. surging ahead by 4 car lengths.
Coming to 14 to go. Martin tries to break the draft down the back straightaway. 18 charges into the corner on the outside. Can't get the power down. Here comes Joey Logano to the inside.
Now Logano side by side with the 18 per second. Side drafts him as they go into turn 1.
He buries it down into turn 1. Trying to take charge on Truex up there. 22 sliding up the track, taking the lane from the 18, putting that 18 in dirty air.
Still has that momentum though. Let's see what Joey Logano can do. Now he's clear. Championship's right in front of him. 14 to go.
And we know what Joey Logano will do.
18, oh, he didn't go to the bottom.
Now Truex on the top. Why did Truex go to the top?
That was weird. He's not running there all night long, and you see what it's allowed to do. The 22 car's closed dramatically.
That was crazy. I don't know why he did that.
Doing it again.
Just a big arc that time.
Committed to the bottom.
2 car lengths the difference between the 78 and 22.
He won't go to the top again. I'd be shocked if he went to the top again in 3 and 4.
These guys should have a pretty clean race to the finish. I doubt we'll catch many lap cars with only 13 laps to go, coming to 12 to go. Truex back to the bottom.
Yeah.
20.
Logano knew it. Logano said Truex ain't gonna do that again. He saw he gained on him. I'm gonna go to the middle. Logano with the run. Look at this run.
He's had the short run speed all day long. This kind of a finish, this kind of a run to the end is tailor-made for him.
All the way to the back bumper of the 78. Now to the outside. Here comes Logano trying to take the lead away.
Wow,
he drives past the 78. He'll take the lead as they go down the backstretch.
He buried that car down into turn 1.
How did that car stick? That's incredible. I thought he overdrove the corner just in a desperation move. He made it stick.
He could be closing in on his first title.
But guys, we've seen this 78 get better as the tires age. I know he lost that lead, but can he inch back in on the 22? And if he does, how patient will he be?
11 laps. He's going to have to start doing it right now.
The 78's taking about 8, 10, 11, 12 laps to fire off.
22 was 4 tenths faster that lap. 4 tenths. Truex better find some speed right this minute. That 22 is going to be gone.
Joey Logano trying to check out, but here comes the 78 again. Logano running the higher line. Truex doing everything he can, getting everything out of this car. 10 laps to go.
Logano 3 tenths quicker.
That pass by Joey Logano was a power move around the top. Jeff, I didn't think he was going to make the corner.
I didn't either. I thought he just, intentionally overdrove it, just trying to make something happen. I could not believe he didn't hit the wall. He wasn't even close to hitting the wall. Crazy grip from that 22. And the understanding of Logano that he had that much grip is crazy. How do you know to drive the car that hard?
The commitment was incredible. The commitment there was incredible, and it was Mike winning this championship. He's driving away.
Truex struggling. You see the back of the car, Truex moving around in the middle of the corner. Parker.
And guys, I asked Todd Gordon what impresses him about Joey Logano, and he said in every sport there's a couple athletes that can just rise to a moment. He said like Michael Jordan or Tom Brady, and he said Joey Logano is one of those athletes that can rise to a moment and get it done, and that is what he has done here tonight. What an impressive run by Joey Logano.
You mentioned one of those athletes. Well, Joey Logano, you hear the coaching going on. But an athlete at the age of 15 was spotted by Mark Martin. And he said, this kid is the greatest thing I've seen since sliced bread. Well, that nickname has stuck. He's been called sliced bread, but maybe thrust into the spotlight a little too soon in his career. Took over for Tony Stewart when he left Joe Gibbs Racing. And a lot of question marks, thinking Joey Logano was too young, maybe too inexperienced for the pressure that comes from the Cup Series. But the second chance has come. With 7 laps to go, 7 laps until his first championship.
Logano is still just a little bit quicker. Truex closed in 1 second and 6 laps earlier tonight. I think he's running out of time though, Jeff.
I talked to Joey Logano this morning. He said, I said, how's your car? He said, man, for 20 laps, we got him covered. Don't know if that's going to work or not. Well, you convinced me you do have him covered for 20 laps.
The caution coming out, them on pit road, and then what Joey Logano has been able to do after the restart. Out in front and now pulling away from Martin Truex Jr. over a second lead. 6 laps to go before his championship.
And many people wondered at Martinsville, why would Joey Logano do that? Here's why. That move at Martinsville, moving Martin Truex Jr. out of the way, moved him to here, gave him this shot. And now he's trying to execute on it.
And Jeff, remember, if he wouldn't have done that, at Phoenix he wrecks. Yes. He would not have been able to advance without that guaranteed spot. But because he moved Martin Truex Jr. out of the way and said, that's the kind of racer I am. I'm an old school racer. It's been happening ever since the beginning of NASCAR. Now, 5 laps away from a championship.
Oh, I know. Can you imagine how nervous he is? Just hoping, no caution, hoping nothing happens.
He's been in some pretty high-pressure situations before. He's lost this championship before. Last year, wasn't he even in the playoffs? What a great turnaround for this team. He's driving away from Martin Truex Jr. and everyone else. 2.5 tenths quicker that last lap. 2.5 lead. Coming to 4 to go.
Rick, he said last week at Phoenix, he felt like he was the favorite. The first car to transfer into the championship 4. Proving it right here with a pass on Martin Truex Jr. for the lead.
And his competitors almost laughed at him. They were like, what do you mean? Why do you think? You know, they made fun of him for saying he was the favorite.
Well, now who's laughing? Under 4 laps to go, and Joey Logano going through lap traffic easily. Over a 1.5 second lead over Martin Truex Jr. The laps continue to click down. Now, just 3 laps to go.
The last thing Joey Logano wants to see now is a yellow. Just 3 more green flag laps.
How about Joey Logano's dad? Traveled around Connecticut, Northeast with his son when he was young, racing quarter midgets. Can you imagine watching a 6, 7, 8-year-old race quarter midgets? Can you imagine ever thinking you'd watch your son be in position to win a championship at this level of racing?
They moved to Georgia. He then became one of the best at Bandoleros there. Won 14 races in a row as a youngster. And people have spotted that. They saw the talent, the raw talent that Joey Logano had. And now under 2 laps to go for Joey Logano. Truex Jr., Harvick, Kyle Busch, all just distant in his mirror. The 4 still running in the top 4. But they're just chasing after the 22 of Joey Logano. This time by, it's 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. 1 lap away from his first Cup Series championship. Joey Logano at 28 years old. Fulfilling a dream.
No threat, man. 1-6 still, slow ahead. No pressure. No pressure at all.
TJ Majors giving him the information. No pressure at all. Well, he has risen well above the pressure as he comes out of turn number 4 to claim his first ever Cup Series championship. It's Joey Logano who wins. tears already flowing for Joey Logano.
Great job, great job.
You heard the voice of the captain. Roger Penske coming on the radio, great job. Joey Logano giving Roger Penske another championship. Logano has just stepped into elite status. You see the name Dwayne Velkel on the side of the car. It was just a couple weeks back.
Congratulations, Joey Logano's Richard Buck. You are the champion.
There's series director Richard Buck letting him know you're the champion. Dwayne Velkel, just a few weeks back, passed away unexpectedly. One of the fabricators for Penske. Riding in memory on the passenger side of the 22. This moment presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all season long. Puts the nose of the car right against the inside wall, right where his crew is, and burns it down. In NASCAR's 70th season, Joey Logano is just the 33rd driver to ever win a Cup Series championship.
What an incredible moment for Joey Logano, the 2018 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion. And Rick, you said his nickname was Sliced Bread, let go by Joe Gibbs Racing at one point. Roger Penske said, I'll take a chance on you. That's why his foundation is named Second Chances. Hug from Todd Gordon. And some tears as well. There you go, Joey. That hat says number 22, Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion. And certainly tears right now. Brad Keselowski. Joey, we talk about second chances all the time. How much of this night was about second chances for you and proving that you could do it?
We did it. We won the championship. I can't believe it. I don't even know what to say. This team, Roger Penske, Todd Gordon, the pit crew, oh my God. These guys are amazing. Gave me the car I needed at the end to do my job. Put me in position to do my job. I couldn't be more proud of them. We won the championship, Marty, oh my God.
I know you did, I know you did. You came into the week saying the big three and me. Did you really feel like you were the underdog in this, Joey?
No, I told you I didn't feel like the underdog, and we proved it why we're not. This is the favorite, and I told you I won that before the race started. So proud of everybody. Everyone rise to the occasion, execute under pressure like nobody's business. I can't thank everyone that supports us. Shell, Pennzoil, Wheels Up, SKF, Ford. We got a Ford, not only the Drivers' Championship, but the Manufacturers' Championship. So can't wait to break that Mustang out soon. But man, oh, I don't even know what to, I don't know what to tell you.
When you're coming to the checkered flag, what are the emotions? What's going through your mind?
Just a lot of screaming. A lot of screaming and yelling. I think I pulled a muscle, but man, I've worked my whole life to get here, to win a championship. We've been so close and spent 10 seasons fighting for this, and wasn't sure we were going to get it, but man, Todd made a good adjustment there at the end. And there's a no-quit attitude, and I was going to pass that car no matter what.
I want to ask you about that move into one. How did you make it stick, number one? We thought you might have just overdrove the corner.
No, it's, my car was really good on entry all day. That's a big boy Coke right there.
And your pit crew delivered today too, Joey. I mean, you've talked for weeks how they're the best on pit road right now.
They are. They proved it again today. The guys are, every one of them, each and every individual on that team is the best in their position, and we showed it today. We were, at points we were really good, at points we were down for the count. I knew we had a short-run car. I said it before the race started that our car is a short-run car. If it's anything longer than 25 laps, we're going to be in trouble, and that really showed all day. But, you know, it came down to that short run, and we're champions, NASCAR champions.
And guess what? Forever, you will be a NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series champion. Joey Logano, plenty of more people to find to give high fives down here. And there's a stage with his name on it too, Rick.
Yeah, he mentioned that it's been 10 years. You think back, 2009, in the Monster Energy Cup Series, he was the Rookie of the Year. Well, in those 10 years, he has impressed, he has won, he has battled, he's fought, he's made friends, and he's made enemies. But what he made tonight was history. He is the 2018 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series champion. He'll be on the stage when we come back. Joey can't get to the stage because of the throngs of crowd that have surrounded the car, the team. It'll be a while until he makes his way to get the hardware, but I want to take a look at today's Coca-Cola winning moment for Joey Logano. He mentioned the pit crew. Well, ultimately, it was the driver that was able to make the pass, take the lead away from Martin Truex Jr., and surge ahead and get his first Cup Series championship, and a big drink of Coca-Cola right there.
What a battle, what a race, Rick. The late race yellow setting up a shootout with all four of the championship four. You said it. Pit crew did their job, and then how did that move by Joey Logano?
And finishing second was Martin Truex Jr., and Kelly caught up with him.
Martin Truex Jr. and the 78 team come up just one spot short of a fairy tale ending. Martin, what's it like climbing out of the 78 for the last time?
Not sure yet, to be honest with you. Sorry. I don't know, I'm gonna miss these guys. Wish we could have won it. We had it, just you know, we couldn't go for 15 laps, and I knew that last restart was going to be tough. We were able to get the lead. I couldn't do anything. I was just slow for 15 laps. You know, wouldn't turn. I tried to go as fast as those guys, and I'd be dead sideways, and I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. And I don't know what else I could have done. You know, he passed me so fast, I didn't even have a chance to do anything. It was we needed more laps. We just needed more time, but. Proud of my guys, and proud of everybody. Thanks Johnny and Bass Pro and auto owners and 5-hour TRD Toyota, everybody who helped us you know, the past few seasons. Not the way we wanted to go out, but hell of an effort.
5 years with this team. What has this time meant to you?
Been the best time of my life. I don't know what else to say. I mean, these guys they've been amazing. they've made me a superstar in NASCAR, and I'm just very thankful for them all.
He said it. They made him a superstar. When he was kind of after the scandal at MWR, not many people wanted to hire Martin Truex Jr. and Furniture Row was just actually looking for a driver. He went over there and in their first year finished 24th in points. Struggled. This team didn't catch fire right away. Him and Cole Pearn got together and they've been in the playoffs ever since. I know he's heartbroken, but they got to hang their heads high after the season. They've been through to finish second. Their team's closing down all the distractions. It's what it comes down to. Sometimes those late cautions, things like that, are going to affect the ends of these races. And Joey was in short run speed and made it work.
With that emotion, you can see the love that he has for that race team and the people. And love's not too big of a word, because we spend that much time, that much effort and energy, and get that kind of success. You saw that from Martin Truex.
Well, the car is still surrounded.
They finally got to Joey.
They got Joey out
said, hey, man, the trophy is over here. And I know he wants to get to that trophy as fast as he can. He ain't going to believe it when he sees it. I think it's huge.
And heavy.
See where the car is and where the stage is. See, the trophy's down here, Joey.
The trophy has all of the tracks that the Monster Energy Cup Series races on throughout the season. All the way around, entwined.
It's a great atmosphere down there. All the fans gathering around to celebrate with you. All your friends, your family, everybody who's here. You know the Championship 4 brought everyone they knew to this race to see if they, in case they won.
Joey Logano has to barge his way onto the stage as he's, well, almost looked like he was going through traffic today on the racetrack. He went right by him.
He's on the wrong stage. He's going to jump down, get up on this other smaller stage right here, like his wife.
They ride every lap with you. They're right there with you, man. They
sure do.
Deal with the bad, the good.
His family, his mother, his father. His father and him been on this journey together.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Brittany, his wife, such a big part of his foundation we talked about earlier.
That's when the emotions get high. You get close to your family, see the look on their face. That's the thing about something like this, is you see how many people it touches. How many people have rode with you all those laps.
New parents too. Hudson.
Hugging the big boss man.
Born just 10 months ago.
Roger Penske.
Roger Penske, the captain up there. Edsel Ford from Ford also on the stage congratulating Joey Logano.
They put a little microphone on Joey right here so they capture all the audio of tonight. He'll want that audio, all the footage.
And there's his son Hudson. And the legs going wild.
That's awesome.
Joey's dad there in the background.
And the families sacrificed so much. We mentioned the move to Georgia. And Joey Logano continuing his racing career. And now everyone gets to celebrate. The highest honor you can earn in stock car racing, Joey Logano has won the championship. The trophy presentation coming up. And for that, let's head to the stage and Krista Voda.
It is absolute pandemonium down here, Rick, but after all, it should be, because we have a first-time Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series winner. Let's go ahead and start the championship presentation, beginning with the Vice President of Sports Marketing for Monster Energy, Mitch Covington. Mitch, I'm going to hand you the microphone. I'm going to try to get a driver up here.
Okay, great. Hey, thank you, Krista. Hey, on behalf of Monster Energy and all of our employees around the world, we'd really like to congratulate our champion of the Monster Energy Cup Series, Mr. Joey Logano, the champion. Okay, congratulations, Joey. It was awesome.
It's so good when you say that.
All right, man. Here we go. Go give you the hardware now.
All right, now for the moment you've been waiting for. This is a big trophy, but I think you're ready for it. Let's go ahead and bring in NASCAR President Steve Phelps for the trophy presentation.
Thank you, Kristen. Joey, what a race.
amazing. You guys are, all 4 of you, in the top 5 all day long, and you were the class of the field. That race at the end, the last 20 laps, was amazing. So on behalf of NASCAR, our millions of fans worldwide, I'd like to congratulate you on being our 2018 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion.
Thank you. Thank you. Sounds so good.
Should we lift? You want to try to lift this up?
Yes.
All right, give it a shot. Joey, I'm going to bring you up here for a minute. You've got your family on stage. I know you, Ben. Go ahead and turn this way. Coming into this race, there were 32 NASCAR Cup champions. Now there are 33. You are exactly what you've always dreamed and hoped to be, a Monster Energy champion.
It's just a dream come true to even hear those words along with my name. It's just crazy, but I'm not a champion. These guys are champions with me. We're not doing it alone. Here comes the best race car I've ever driven. Right here. Look at that thing.
Who's bringing it in for us?
That's Dan Lynch. That's my interior guy, who does a great job, and my whole team does an amazing job. Our pit crew was amazing. Oh man, I don't even know how to put this in words. God is so good. It's just, it's crazy what life can throw at you sometimes, and you get the cautions at the right time. You let this team do their job, and let me do my job. And next thing you know, here we are, NASCAR champions. It's, I don't even know what to say.
Well, you've been in this position before, and we talked about this, and I know you've answered this question a lot. But you're a different driver, a different person in 2018 than you were in 2014, 2016. Part of the reason your wife, Brittany, and this little guy, not even a year old, Hudson came up on the stage and we said, Daddy's a champion. What does this mean, knowing and looking into his eyes?
That's his bedtime right now, but man, it's incredible. You do change a lot as you grow up, and I happen to grow up in front of a lot of people and witnessed a lot of my mistakes that I made in the past, but every one of those mistakes has formed me to who I am today and led me to the people that you see on the stage right now who surrounds me. So just a crazy feeling right now, and everybody that's supported me along the way, everyone from Connecticut, from the beginning when I was driving go-karts around my dad's garbage company and hitting dumpsters, to where we are today, and with all our partners at Team Penske and so many people here today. It's an amazing night. I know what second felt like, and I know how much it stings, and I didn't know what winning feels like, and it feels really, really, really good.
Let's bring in, you continue, I know you want to talk to your family there. I'm going to bring in your crew chief, Todd Gordon. Come on over here. Congratulations. 49 years old, you're a Cup champion as well. Talk about the fact and the trust and the confidence, everything that you and Joey have been through together to get to this.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, surreal. We've been through it twice, and we thought we had shots both times and just didn't quite come through. And we used that to kind of come up with a game plan of what we needed to do to be successful today, and it rolled out perfectly.
I don't want, look at RP's getting away from me. Go ahead and we'll kind of, I don't know if he's going to get away from me. We'll try to catch him later. But they made a comment. I know that you're carrying Dwayne, one of your crew members' name on the car, passing away unexpectedly not that long ago. A fabricator at your team, you started as a fabricator. I know his name, the fact that he is on this car, and everyone of your crew thinking of him and his family.
Yeah, definitely. We lost Dwayne 3-4 weeks ago, and accident on the way to work. Hated it for him and for his family, and thoughts and prayers there. I can't imagine the situation, but he's been with us since '03. He built all the greenhouses on these cars, and so it's appropriate for him to be carried on the door top on the greenhouse. And you know, just the team rallied at the shop and everything to make this a perfect weekend, and we're here.
Congratulations. Let's bring in Ed Soll as well. We're going to talk to Roger Penske. RP snuck away on us, but it's Ford Championship weekend. Ed Soll, what does it mean to have a Ford driver back in not just victory lane, but with this championship?
Well, you know, we haven't had a car and a manufacturer championship since Dale Jarrett in 1999. So we've had a dry season. So frankly, my heart is still in my throat. And I couldn't be more happier with Roger and Joey and Todd and everybody. The whole Penske organization has just done an absolutely sensational job.
Congratulations to you, to Ford, to everyone behind here. I know they want this celebration to continue and really get started. So Rick, when you joined us on the pre-race show, he said, I want the ball. That's what Joey Logano said. He said, it's our time. Tonight it was. He is the 2018 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup champion. We'll continue talking to him on our post-race coverage.
Thanks, Krista. And Edsel Ford just referenced the manufacturers championship, and he said, you know, it hadn't happened since Dale Jarrett when they had the driver and the manufacturers championship in the same season. The last time they won the manufacturers title was 2002, so it's been a while for Ford to be able to capture that title. And just moments ago, Parker Kligerman caught up with Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick finishes third, led 58 laps. You were so fast early in the race. Did just the handle go away from you a little bit there at the end?
Well, obviously, and you know, we just got loose as the night went on. Really great pit call there, in position to win the race if the caution doesn't come out, and then it came down to a pit stop and you know, a restart there, and we didn't do either good. So just hate it for all our guys on our Jimmy John's Ford. Just got to thank Busch and Ford. Congratulations to Ford on winning a manufacturers championship and a championship. I know they put a lot of effort into that. Mobil One, Outback, Hunt Brothers, Morton Buildings, Textron, Liftmaster, everybody who helps us at Stewart-Haas Racing.
8 wins on the season, not getting the championship. Is this the kind of the season that got away a little bit in that sense?
I don't think so.
No? 8 wins is good enough for you?
Yeah. Don't you think?
I think it's good, definitely.
You'd be happy with it, wouldn't you?
I would take that, no doubt.
No,
Congratulations.
You know, it's been a great year, and we just got beat tonight.
10-4. Kevin Harvick just didn't have the speed at the end.
Well, Kyle Busch is not first of the 4 tonight. Kyle, how will you judge this evening's race?
I don't know, just not at all what we wanted, obviously, not what we expected either. We knew the 22 was fast, but man, I thought we were way closer than that. And we kind of held serve the first round of the race, but then after that, we were never close. I don't know what happened, just didn't have the feel in the race car that I needed tonight. Just all night long, just as soon as you get out of the gas, getting into the corners, you're just sideways, just turning to the right, just trying to save it. And you do that for 50, 60 laps, whatever it is on tires, and you just can't hang on. I couldn't hang on after 8 laps, let alone the 50, but bummed for all of our guys. Adam Stevens and my guys did a phenomenal job all year long. This M&M's team was really, really good, and just not good enough in the night that mattered the most. But we finished 4th, last of the chase guys. Just that's not what it takes these days.
How concerning were those handling issues when you finally did get the strategy bump when Adam played that long pit?
Yeah, I mean, that was just the fact of the matter of nobody giving up. You know, don't give up behind the wheel. Just keep driving and keep trying to swing a Hail Mary and see what we could get. And the strategy fell right in our lap. The pit stall fell right in our lap, but none of it meant anything if you don't have a fast enough race car. And I knew I was just a sitting duck on that restart. I figured I could hold them off for like 4 laps, 5 laps maybe. But damn, not even a straightaway and they're gone. So that's just all there is to it.
You didn't get the bulk. You didn't get the big prize today, but how will you remember the bulk of the season, a big one for the 18 team?
Lots of wins. Forget about it now. Move on.
Kyle Busch, 4th tonight and 4th in the chase playoff cars.
And post-race coverage will continue until 8 o'clock Eastern on NBCSN, so make sure to join us there. And Steve, as we reflect back on this weekend, I think the right car won, the right driver won. All weekend long, it was Joey Logano who looked very, very strong.
Well, it's been an outstanding season. We had 4 outstanding competitors racing for a championship, and in the end, they all worked their way to the front 2 rows for the final restart with under 20 laps to go. I think that's what we all wanted to see, was a shootout. And you mentioned it, the right car, the fastest car. Joey Logano absolutely proved he was the best, passing the 78 to go on to a championship.
They were definitely the 4 best, and we bring in our drivers, Dale Jr. and the mayor, Jeff Burton. Guys, what an incredible race we just saw.
Yeah, Joey Logano was pushed around a lot when he got into this series, but he decided to be the more aggressive driver over the last several years, and it's paid off. and put him in position to race for this championship tonight. Team gave him the great car to be able to do it. Middletown, Connecticut better be celebrating Joey Logano. He's our new champion.
Yeah, 28 years old, 10 times. This is the 10th year. It took him 10 years to get it done. You mentioned it. He had to learn how to win these races. He had to learn to stand up for himself. He's done that recently. Joey Logano got tonight what we all dream of. Give me the ball late in the game, man. Let me make something happen. Joey Logano did it. Awesome drive by Joey.
And remember, it was the big three and me for Joey Logano. To be the best, you have to beat the best, and that is exactly what Joey Logano did tonight.
He called himself the favorite a week ago. He proved it tonight on the racetrack, and you saw the emotion, what this championship means to Joey Logano.
The celebration is going to continue, and remember, on NBCSN, it'll stay until 8 o'clock. Joey Logano, the 28-year-old from Connecticut, nicknamed Sliced Bread by Hall of Famer Mark Martin. Had to fight for this championship, had to fight just to get in to the championship 4. Was aggressive in all the races of the playoffs, and when it came time to decide a champion, he aggressively went by the best in the sport, and now he can be called a champion alongside the greats in NASCAR.